Of Reawakening Minds. Happy Holy Day, Moors. And we also like to welcome our illustrious teacher tonight, Father Hannibal Bey. Let's receive him.
Yeah. I would say, let's give you all a good round of applause. All right. I always do thank you all for welcome me here and possibly, for a time here, be a resident sage among the others here, Dr. Nyla and my father, His Grace, and another brother, Abdullah. We're giving you sciences. This is sciences that we were giving at Roundtable in Camden many years. So as we'll pick up for some of you out there in Facebook and video land, Ahillam, Salam, peace. Just recapping, we recapped again the 7 laws. So please, I trust you, just keep working. And I'm just recapping on some of the last stuff we had. And right now, we're just going over the 7 dominant laws. We have a couple people here who are new, so I'm just touching on the first law, which was the law of reverse reaction, or in short, reverse psychology. And we're actually talking about the second law of mass suggestion, which is the law of repetition. And I was just using the example. If you can, I don't know, let me know if you can zoom in and it can get clear, because later on they're going to be, you can't, all right, we'll work it some kind of way, we'll be in the see, because you're going to need to copy these, because we will be going into the sigils, because I know I needed to do that last time. But right now, this little section here, I'm using this as an example of the brain. So we'll say this tip here represents the nose, and this is the ears. And I'm talking about the left side of the brain, which is your conscious mind. And your right side of your brain is your subconscious mind. And then we're saying right in the center is the third mind, which is not talked about much, but it's very important. And you Moors being here, is we're talking about how you're being bombarded by suggestions. And you being Moorish conscious, already you're aware of that, and you're already negating the suggestions that's been given to you since you were young. You know you're not black. You know you're not listening. But I'm going to take this further so you can work this science. And then you can apply it to the jurisprudence works and things that you're doing to help you navigate. There's one thing you will say, one thing I'm going to always keep doing. I'm getting to the meat of it. And I'm letting you know, even though I'm surmising some of this, right now, the beautiful cherub, Dr. Nyla, she is now taking some of the paperwork that I already have, booklets and stuff, and it's starting to be printed up, so you will have a hard copy. So, but I'm getting to the meat of it. But you're going to find out, and this is what anything and everything that you're dealing with. When you're communicating, the key thing is effective communication is to convey your idea to the person and they will understand it. You understand what I'm saying? And this is why you hear in Freemasonry, and I'm already thinking a lot of you have already gotten a lot of work from my father and the other brothers and what have you, and who are teaching you. But you're familiar, like the 7 liberal arts they mentioned, those who are familiar. And one of them is rhetoric and what have you, effective use, all of the effective use of words and what have you. Well, this is why. Because again, if you were supposed to be the PhD, LLD of law, being the more 360 degree, and you're working in jurisprudence, you definitely would need to know the effectiveness on how to use the words. So I'm giving you the other aspect of it, as being the more what you may call spiritual, which I'm just basically telling you the intent that can go behind words, because it's being used for you. And I will speak to you in pictures so you can understand what I'm saying when I tell you, Pete, the movie, They Live, and those of you who have seen it, it's a movie where Roddy Piper and the Asiatic actor Keith David wearing glasses, and they wind up walking the streets, and they seeing the regular billboards with these special glasses. Now they're seeing the subliminal that's behind it. And it's a scene in the movie where he's at a outside magazine stand. And he's looking at the daggone stand and regularly, then he put the glasses on, and then all the covers that was on it disappears, and he's looking at each of the magazines actually have a subliminal on. You're being conformist or obey. And then he's looking at the guy with the money in his hand. It's actually a white piece of paper, and it says, "This is your God." Even though it's a fictional movie, I'm telling you, me being a Magi and a hypnotist, you are being bombarded and you're being influenced that way. You are aware of it again, becoming a Moorish American or more national, taking back your surnames, and then now your fight or our fight is to negate the dark wizards out here who has been sitting here provoking and saying, yeah, you black. Of course they know. You know, if you rename something and that object accepts it, you have the power. All right, so, I just want to go off tangent on that. But anyway, so I'm using this as an example where I'm saying your mind, your left side of your brain is your conscious mind. The right side of your brain is your subconscious mind. All right? And you'll find that no matter what spiritual schooling you go through, or even if you go higher up in a regular religious order, and they will always lead you to eventually going within self, pulling out your higher self. And that main journey is within your subconscious mind. This is why you say your race, you're Asiatic, meaning right within. Your fez is kind of like your portable pyramid. And again, I'm not taking it for granted because I know a lot of you already have a lot under your fezzes and turbans. You already know that shapes affect cosmic forces. Our ancestors understood that, and I've departed to some of you already, and I told you the pyramid information or the technology, that's nothing new. You mastered understanding different shapes, changes the cosmic forces. It was the pyramid powers that propelled your spaceship to come here when our ancestors came to this planet Earth as a refuge from our home planet, Aden, A-D-E-N. The whole Superman comic book thing, I keep telling you, Europeans play with you and they laugh and they make money off you. They gave it to you and gave you the Superman's cartoon and comic book. And usually I always ask people, I say, so what's Superman's real name? They'd be like, Clark Kent, Kal-El.
Kal-El.
They put it right in your face. They put it right in your and laugh. And when he was first made, he had, of course, had the dark hair. He actually had the dark eyes. But again, who was his creators? I already told you they are a variant of us Hittians, or I'd say I prefer the term you call us Magi. That was your old breed before you were Muslim. And it was two Jewish Ashkenazis that created it. But I digress. So anyway, the key thing is here is to understand this, and I'm just recapping, and we're going to go into some more things so it'll be more clear, especially for you sisters who are here and you're taking notes. And once some of these things be clear, get with some of the other people who have had a few in the class. They'll be able to help fill in, because I'm giving you the tools of recognizing the certain laws that could be used against you, and you can counter it. And then learning how to utilize it when you need it. You understand what I'm saying? And again, I want you to understand, because I know you're new, the information I'm giving you is from the sacred orders that I am a part of, that people pay tens of thousands of dollars for. I'm breaking it down to you and giving you the meat of it, but we will be covering it later on, because right now we're getting to the point where we're producing the work. I have the stuff. It just matters, it's got to be copied for you, and then you can have it. And we really get in. So as I'm going through the stuff, you pull into your book, and you're going, hey, you know what I mean? Hey. So, but that's how we always work. Me and Daddy, we always work that way. So, but like I said, I'm going to make sure I cover it enough so you know, especially you new beloved sisters here, and any new brothers and sisters who are out there. And of course, you can then look at the old stuff that was already put up. My key thing is I want you to be, what can we say, war, how we were being built, we were being beat by individuals that were making cells. They said you can knock one people down, but if you're dealing with people that work in cells, you knock one cell down, that ain't the whole group. You now activated two other. They working also like Hydra. So you know what I mean? We trying to make it like the way Raleigh wanted it. Whereas it ain't gonna be no more You're in a time period now. There ain't no more than one leader. You bump me off, y'all getting the potent stuff. You bump my dad off, y'all got the potent stuff now. It ain't like it used to be back then. And y'all got to get into this on this level. And then look at the beautiful thing. We got the little cherubs here. It's been a long while since I've seen a beautiful little cherub wearing his feather. Last time I seen my little baby, bro, he's about 30 now, he's taller than me now. But it's beautiful because it's what time it is. And again, write this down because you're new. I think y'all two were together. I know she tended the baby. There's some videos I also refer. Look up a guy named Darren Brown on YouTube. I want you to see him in action using your science. The Europeans renamed it hypnosis. But you already knew this science and it's tens of thousands of years old. You called it Maya. Only meaning illusion. I want you to see Darren Brown go into a daggone shop. And he goes into a daggone shop and does this. And he walks into a jewelry store. And he's like, oh, I want to see that jewelry there. He gets about $4,000 worth of jewelry. And he's using your science and winds up using white sheets of paper and paying for it and walking out the damn door. But I'm giving you so now you get the backstory of what we're doing. So it may seem boring, but I'm giving you the building blocks. And the sister's going to what's the name? That's why I'm recapping. All right, I'm recapping. And like I said, I'm giving you the tools. So then when you go off now, you're seeing somebody who might be able to need it, and it might save your life. Because the key thing that you can do if you need to get away or diffuse a situation, speak nonsense. Something that is confusing. You understand what I'm saying? I'm giving you the secrets of what you may see stage hypnotists do and how they quickly able to put somebody under. So I'm giving you back so you can understand. And it's your birthright. Your crown is a representative. Your name, Hannibal Bey, is a representative. You got brothers and sisters out here and Europeans who's paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in Masonic little orders, and they're learning this. And they get pissed off because you get depending on the dollar, but it's your birthright. Key thing is you got to make sure it gets in the right hands of the Moorish brothers and sisters. That's why also I'll put them on blast. The ones who are negative, who mess y'all up. No, I ain't gonna go in it, but review the old videos and leave it at that. So, but my key thing is I'm giving you the tools. So again, you know, like say suppose if it's a situation where it's a fight or something. Like for instance, if one is being used, one of the psychological actions, there was a fight, and it's actually on YouTube. I think it's on YouTube. Anyway, there was a fight on the train, and this European didn't want to deal with this, but everybody else is, you know, like, oh yeah, what? What he did, he took a bag of chips and went right in the middle of them and just started eating. Now, psychologically, it sounds funny. Psychologically, when you're eating, you're not upset. You have to be calm and eat. And it was just another way to diffuse the situation. You understand what I'm saying? Now, here's another way. We'll say something to the effect of somebody's trying to come at you. You know, they talk a mess and you're trying to, you just say, no, man, I didn't mean to buy them yellow shoes for your girl last week. You're like, huh? And what you're doing, you gave him an idea, he's trying to wrap around it, and it's confusing. Then you can slide in the suggestion, like I told y'all. You can speak audible, but not too audible, and you say you're highly suggestible. And what'd you say? Nothing. And then you just start sliding in the suggestions, and so you know, hey, brother. Matter of fact, I'm going to get into the 5 touches while I'm on this. 5 touches, areas on the body that influence. Tapping the forehead. All right. It's not so much you, but I'm saying there's somebody else. You know, right? The other is both hands in a rotating. No, get me wrong on that. It's a forehead. It's one. Because a lot of this, it can be complicated, but like I said, I'm breaking it down for you in the simple forms. So, These are it's 5 areas that you can touch that also hypnotically influence a person, like key parts of the body. One is the forehead, the back of the neck, the forearm, also the shoulder. There's just so much stuff here, and I have made notes in my thing for the room. Miss that. And it may seem, a bit weird, but trust, it does work. Have any of you been aware of hearing about NLP?
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Right. All that is just another variant of what I am giving you. And those 5 points that I told you about, touching the forehead or the arm, the forearm, or the shoulder, or the wrist, those are areas of influence if you're talking to someone. So here's a key. I'm boiling it down for you, but later on y'all will get the literature. I have the literature, just going to copy it up. What this does is, if you're talking to someone, and you want to influence that person, this is what businessmen, high-powered businessmen, how they be able to close them deals. Yeah, I'm talking about to do it. Boy, I didn't really give you the ball. And I mean, what he does is like, yes, no, see, Bob, what I'm going to tell you is this. Picture yourself this. You and your wife, and what you're doing is making them go in their mind using the right side of their brain, the imagination. And you're touching one of the hypnotic points. Once you do that, you're making them invoke an emotion, a positive emotion. All right? Matter of fact, I know some Casanovas are getting pissed off out there. Or what y'all call them, players or PIMP, pimps. This is how guys are able to get honeys that'll follow them all night. So matter of fact, I can use that as an example.
The Susquehannock, Maryland Republic is here.
All right. We'll say this. What a guy would do is this. He'll touch a girl's forearm and get her to recall a time that she was happy. All right? And as he's doing it, he's telling her, hey, when was the last time you were with your boyfriend or such and such, such and such, and he was happy? And as he's doing it, he's touching one of the keyboards that may touch the forearm. What he did, he made her recall the time she was happy and invoked an emotion, a positive emotion. And then he'll do it again. But he'll make her recall another time that she was happy. Anytime you've seen a good sunny day, and mind you now, so it's unbeknownst to that person. When you do talk, like I said, you touch the wrist or the forearm or the shoulder. When you do it the third time, and again, like I said, some cats is out there watching this video. I'm going to get pissed. It's one of the massive hypnotic secrets where they get women. From that point on, he can leave her and she'll follow him all night. Because what he did, he had placed himself or associated in her mind with the other person. And she had a good time. So this is kind of done at parties or business. So again, I'm just chunking it down to you. But like I said, a lot of this work, I do have it already in print. We just got to get out. So I didn't mean to go off on that tangent here, but I want you to understand how deep did this go. So please look up on Darren Brown and actually see him in operation. Utilize your old science. As you call Maya, the Europeans, they want to keep going into history, talking about, hypnosis means in France, Anton Mesmer. And they will even say in their work, well, it goes back to ancient Egypt. Well, it goes back even further than that. You called it Maya. So when you see a Moor, whether it's a man or a woman, They have their turban on or their feathers. And they have their jewel or their third eye. That's what that represents. They have mastered the mind of that science and other sciences that they can influence and control your environment. I have to give you these examples so you can understand some of these things, once you're aware of them, especially a lot of you who are dealing in jurisprudence work and what have you, you'll see it being operated. All I'm saying now, I'm giving you the tools so you can then flip the script, counter it. All right? So again, we're talking about what we're doing right now for those who walked in. We're just recapping and we're ready to move forward with some other work. We're just recapping. I say a hello to everyone. And someone that came in and made a reading. We came in. We spoke up for everybody. So what we're doing is just going over certain laws that we had already covered. And again, I know it kind of seems boring, especially those who've taken a few classes already and we covered it. But what you'll find out, I'm only repeating because we're going to keep going over it. Even though you say you understand, but it's more deeper. And then soon, we're just going to catch up with a lot of things. A lot of stuff is already printed and packaged and lessons. We're just working right now to get stuff so it can be in your hands. But I am chunking it up and getting to the core of it so you can understand. Some of you who are here, if you can, I'm only using this space because I needed it and I needed to get some stuff out and take up time, so I wrote ahead of time. I'm going to touch on sigils. So these are some of the candle sigils. If you can, anyone, turn off any electricity or any of your electronic devices. If you can, write some of these and we will go into it. I'm going to go into the candles, how you dress them a bit. And these are some of the sigils you will write on the candles. Some can be reversed, some or not. This is just a little bit because it was some things I was supposed to have covered last time. Anyway, what we're doing here, we're using this as an example of the mind. I was explaining again, your left side of your brain is your conscious mind, and your right side of your brain or your head is your subconscious mind. And the key thing, I'm going to say the third mind, is your critical mind. That is your barrier that either accept ideas, outside ideas, or you will or you won't. You have your own sets of beliefs. The key thing is this. We're talking about the second law of the suggestible or hypnosis, where we're talking about the law of repetition. And I'm saying those who are masters of this count on you daydreaming. Because everyone has a point in their mind where they will daydream. And daydreaming is when, we'll say, the gate or your critical mind or the door or barrier or gate or whatever you want to call it, it will swing open and a suggestion will slide in. All right? And once a suggestion slides in, your subconscious mind, once it grabs it, it's going to try to manifest it. All right? So we were talking about how you're being bombarded by suggestions and the law of repetitions. We talked about the use that is being on radio, how a song's being played over and over, or you see commercials. Again, you've all heard me say your dark wizards at this are your advertising agencies. A lot of individuals will go to college and learn psychology, and under psychology is the science of what you call hypnosis, and they have took it to a whole new level. They call it black ops hypnosis, and some call it street hypnosis. And all they're doing is working your old Moorish science, and they're manipulating the masses. A lot of the truths are coming out right now on social media. You'll hear them talking about fake news, what have you. That's just another way of confusing the people. Because here's the key thing: cause confusion, you can then slide your suggestion in, and that's the key thing. I used the example earlier, which is in the other class, some of you I do recognize before. Those who work in white-collar jobs or blue-collar jobs, we all seen in the 90s where they had a new term where it's called multitasking. And some of you remember I used the example when I said They were doing that because they were making you more highly suggestible. They was getting you to do more activities. Because if you're doing one activity, you're focusing. And if you're focusing, it's hard for somebody trying to influence you. But if they got you doing something else, and say, hey, we want you to stack those books over there, and then we want you to copy this and that, and you're doing multicasting. And what they really wanted you to do, they just come back a little later once you're in it. They know you're not focused. Then they can just give their suggestion, and you're more likely to do it or carry it out. And for those who taken some of the suggestion classes I had given before, remember the other thing I had told you? What I use was the car salesman. I say some of them cats take classes for some of the things I'm trying to break down to you, and they kick out a lot of money. Same thing with reverends too. I think I brought that up too. They call them hooping classes. They got to come up with at least good 10,000 or so to get it. If they want to be into what they call the TD Jakes level and all that. Well, I'm trying to break it down and give it to you so you can understand. And remember I told you this, I said, if you want to influence a person, get them to do at least what?
5 parts.
5 things.
Yes.
5 things, all right? What that was is to break it down for those who knew. You want to influence somebody, you say, hey, yeah, stand here. Oh, look over there. Oh, no, don't worry about that. Already a couple 3. Sunny day out there, yeah. And then this, give you a suggestion. And I'm going to make it more simpler to you. Some of you, please forsake the class, we're moving on to new stuff, but this is for new people. Car sales. When you come and you're trying to buy a car, you notice they're trying to talk to you, you're really looking around, but you're really not ready yet to talk to them, but what you don't know is they're using what I just told you. Already in their mind, they already have 3 set questions that they are going to ask you, and you're going to say yes. That you can't say no to. If it's a sunny day, they say, hey, it's a sunny day. It's like, boy, it's a nice day today, isn't it? Yes. And you don't know. Every time you're saying yes, and you're opening yourself up to the suggestion. All right? Opening up to suggestion. Again, I don't mean to bore someone, because I see someone bore you, but we went through this and other stuff. All right, so I just want to do this for sister. But like I said, for those who are new and some of the things I'm talking about now, for those who have taken this already, get with some of them after class. I know some of you will talk to me, but they have other notes and stuff. And I think we do have stuff on the social media in the classes since we recorded. So, but yeah, just wanted to touch on that so you can understand that. The second law, repetition, you just keep repeating a suggestion over and over and over and over and over. This is why we also tell you, don't call your children kids. You're Moorish. You don't call your children kids. You already know from those of you who are active in the temple, just as well as those of you who are old Moorish Order Roundtable students of myself and my father, His Grace, that words have power. That's another reason why I'm touching on Maya or hypnosis. Is letting you know words have power, especially having intent. You already know that for the simple fact you're here. You're Moors. You know you're not black. Because it does have an effect. So same thing, calling your children kids. You don't call them kids. You don't have kids. Europeans have kids. And I always say this. Don't get upset with the little ones when you walk outside and they rob you. Or they break into your cars. Why? You call them kids. Now I ask you this. What is the animal that is used to depict and they love them so much, their escort that they call Satan? And what is the baby of goat? So I always say don't get pissed off when they're doing negative acts. Words have power. You already know that. I don't, just for the sake of those out there, but I know we got a whole house full of Moors, so you already know. You're Moors. And like I had said before, and I want you all to understand this, and I'm saying this to those out there in media social land, I want to start a movement by telling you Moors this. You all aware last summer, the FBI had put out a so-called in-house memorandum, and they're going and telling the police that they're trying to label us Moors with the BIEM or whatever. One's a black extremist or whatever. And I say, don't let them call us black. And you go off on anybody that call you black as if they called you nigger. Because black is nigger. You understand? And then now you're also, some of you are the ones who are aware of what I showed you certificates and the dirty Moor who sat there and gave you the worst blow. And now, which made me put it together why the FBI and them, the Justice Department was so good at putting that out. Because remember, I told you your work was registered with the Library of Congress and the Justice Department. So it wasn't like they didn't know you more. They knew who you were, certificate 122141. And all of a sudden, when that's off the registry, now you got Sessions and that orangutan sitting up there passing stuff, going to call you, and you are the legal citizens here. But I want it whereas we make that word so repugnant that we not only wake up our Moors, the Moors start waking up these unconscious Asiatics. Because the mass hypnosis can go both ways. You get enough numbers, and you're talking on that level. You're already making a lot of sense. And even those who are turning over, they're waking up. But we're going to treat that word as if they're calling you niggas. Because I ain't never had no one call me that. I wouldn't let it. And I said, the least you call me by my tribal name, even though that's another made-up name, Cherokee, but we call it Panayon. But I am not black. Well, you black, honky. You cracker. I trust you stay up. I can push you down. You crumble it like it. Let me stop. Anyway, the law of repetition is very important. Hitler knew this. He used to say, you can repeat a lie over and over, people after a while people will believe it. The third law was the law of dominance. And this law of hypnosis, this is given a suggestion given in an authoritative command. All right. System which you're not aware of, and again, I'm just touching on some of this because I have more things to go over. This is during my recap part. A suggestion is given in a dominant way. Well, I had also broke down with the understanding that a master hypnotist can size up a person and know how to give a suggestion. And what you need to be aware of, that there are two types of suggestible people. There are the emotional suggestible people, and then there are physical suggestible people. All that means is when you're curtailing a suggestion, if it's a physical suggestible person, your words will is given to them to affect their physical. And the way you would identify them is this. Physical individuals walk with their feet outwards. So a master hypnotist will understand that, all right, I got to give them words that would affect the body. The body will feel limp. All right. Now, an emotional suggestible person usually walk with their feet straight or turned inward. So then the words that are given to them would affect their emotions. You're feeling a tranquil, joyful, but relaxing. I'm chunking it down to you. Please, you Moors, hold on, because I know y'all got it. We're going to get some other stuff. But when you see it, and I give it to you, because you're going to get stuff from us that is from sacred orders. Like I said, I'm making it available to y'all. We're not paying on that big money, but I'm chunking it down to you so I can get it like that. It's going to be useful. I'm giving you work that the adepts have, that these other individuals have, that you're supposed to have as part of your birthright. But I'm just chunking it down to you. See how simple it is. So you just got to remember when you see that, and all right, you know how you want to influence this individual. Remember when I said, if you need to influence that person, what you got to get them to do? 5 times. You see what I'm saying? Remember, there's a natural thing that comes with you women. You have your charm. You can just sit up there and be like, can you pick oh, you are so nice. So I said, you know, count it in your mind. You don't know, you're just saying yes to everything. As you know, yes. So what I really want is, I'm giving you the ideas. A lot of this stuff is written down, but there's a lot of times the students that you have, they tell you, I have so much I want to give you, but I wind up going overtime, and they got to get me to train. I'm running out the door. I'm like, I'm not used to that. But anyway, I'm just chunking it down for you. But it's funny because it seems simple, though. You're like, wow, but I'm giving you your purpose back. This is represents you now when people see you wearing your jewels, your third eyes and stuff, people know. Like I told y'all, it was funny. I used to work in Philly at a bookstore back in '95, and sometimes I wear my turban. And this one brother was from the islands, and he had said, he said to his sister, matter of fact, we were both in college, and she happened to work there. And he had said to her, he said, you know, in my country, we see that when you hit, we will run the other way like we try to catch a bus. And then he told her, he said, well, the saying is, that means you can hurt us without even touching us. Right? So all I'm giving you is the science. Trust. Your thought. That's the main message. For those who come here, I don't know if you know, the sister have already printed up some of the Holy Corvette, but that is the main message in the Holy Corvette that the Creator has said. Because I had told you what the Creator has said, that all of you are gods. I have made you to live 1,000 years, and you choose not to even live a tenth of it. So when I tell you to get your minds thinking, when you see stories of Thor, Odin, and Zeus, all that, they're depicting you. You already know the truth about Jesus, and they're giving you the Brad Pitt. And I already tell you, you already know, we all got the Bible, we can all open the Bible, and we know damn well Jesus is going to describe him looking like this. And you being Moorish, you already know about the Yakub experiment. So it's impossible for Jesus to be European. So with that understanding, it's impossible for Zeus, Thor, Woden, and anybody else, the other gods, to look like them. They're the newest creation on this planet. They only been here for about 10,000 years. That's why your flag's about 10,000 years. Prior to that, it was all white with a gold star. You were Lemurian then. Just trying to make you think. So when you saying Woden and all in Florida, they talk, they do. Like I told y'all, there's a picture of Queen Tay. She looks like Pam Grier. It's the Egyptian, they call it Egyptian bust. She got an afro. They found in Egypt. And they'll tell you, those who's really telling you the real truth, it ain't Egyptian. She wasn't Egyptian. She was Lemurian. Now I'm telling you, because I'm part of the little sacred order of the Grand Priesthood of the Radio. I'm a Grand Priest, but I just prefer the term Magi. And also Shella and Great White Brotherhood. She's an ascended master. And I've told some of y'all, and I said she's walking this planet today. You had this science. Yeah, I see it. I see it.
5 minutes on Lemurian for the new faces.
Lemurian, it's funny, we were talking about that earlier. I think I might just go ahead and read. I was talking about this earlier. This is another piece of the Holy Corvette. This is a higher piece of it. This is called Ekayak. And this was written by the Amagian named Dora. This book is the other portion of the Holy Corvette that actually, what Ekayak means, it's a Lemurian word, and it means the Chronicles of Earth. Dora was the Amagian. Remember I told you it was two nations, basically, of us that came here on this planet. When we came here to refuge before our home planet blew up, it was Amagians, who was the father nation of us, Lemurians. All right, so he was the first map maker and historian of ancient times. His first works were the Ekayak, like I said, it was Lemurian, and it meant Chronicles of the Earth. And he made a short history and map of every major country at the time. I want to stop there because the beloved brother asked me to give this to you. Now, what I'm going to read to you, and some of this will be made into slides, and some of these will be put in some print, but as those of you who are serious and will go on, you will get access to this higher piece. What I have here, I'm about to read to you, is the stats for Lemuria when it exists, and this is actually the alphabet. And us Magi had to master it. We had to. I will show you also Atlantis. What's the name?
Teach.
And I will also show you the map of what it looked like. And what we were talking about, because it's good that you said this, beloved, before earlier. Before you came, we were talking about it earlier, this beloved brother here, and I happened to bring something. Matter of fact, and the beloved sister, we were all talking about it. She was showing me a map that she pulled up that they showed Mu. And this is why I said to you, Moors, you have to wake up. Stop just grabbing only Moorish history. You're only going into the 10,000 years period, and even some of that's lost, which I'm giving you, but I'm also giving you past that. You grab that Atlantean and Lemurian history. What did I say to y'all? I said because you sleep and you're waking up, but the Europeans, I was saying this 20-something years ago, where I was noticing the Europeans had the audacity to start writing Atlantean history books and Lemurian history, and they were writing themselves in your history. Now you're the newer wave, and that was back in 97 and 98 when I was saying, now here this is 20 years ago. You wouldn't know if it wasn't somebody like me just telling you, when you see that history, kick it off to the side. Because you're getting the real deal now. But they're doing it because of your sleep. And one book had the audacity to say, be written that Atlantis was in the European area.
Oh, my.
Yeah. But we got you more waking up. You're the new authors. You're the new people that's going to kick it. I told you also, get the Cryon books. Because I said earlier, we were talking about Cryon. That was a divine energy that came back to this planet. And in the series, it gave you some of your ancient Lemurian and Atlantean history. But it was talking to a lot of you. Because you know spirit never dies. And a lot of you are gifted. And a lot of you are the old scientists, the old philosophers. And so what Cryon did in the book was only gave us so much ancient history or ancient science. And it said I had to hold back. But it's written for some of you who are out there that once you see it, it'll wake you up and you'll pick up from where you left off. So grab the Cryon series, books. Kryon, Cryon. Now, this is what Lemuria looked like. Now, beloved sister was showing me where they keep mixing up Mu, because Mu and Lemuria is two different land masses. Mu existed in what you call the Atlantean Ocean. We named it Atlantis after it sunk. I'm going to explain that. Prior to that ocean, you called it the Harua Ocean. But you named it Atlantis Ocean in honor of them. You'll find out Atlantis was a cruel nation. They were kind of like started behind the United States, warring when everybody was grabbing people and they was enslaving them. And then I tell y'all to see the movie Atlantis, the Lost Continent. And I said that person had wrote that movie came out during the year I was born, 67. And I said they had to have their hands on the Holy Corpus to read it, because I'll tell you that some of you have heard me say it. What happened was they was messing with atomic energy, they blew up some stuff, and they were doing underground testing. And they had an arsenal of bombs, and they thought their 1 mile wall was going to keep everything safe, but it fractured. And then what happens when you blow up an arsenal that has all these bombs stored? And that's what happened. It blew everything up. And it also affected on the other side of the planet, it affected Lemuria, which that sunk. And so it took about a good 4 hours for it to finish sinking. That's basically what happened. But atomic energy and DNA splicing, you know that's something new. Moors, you already know that, but you know you're a who. Now, let me read your history of Lemuria, since this brother, and it's beautiful. The brother always bring up good points every time. Here is what Adora had wrote Now note, like beloved sister, we were talking earlier, what I was saying, that the Holy Court Beth and other your Moorish history and even your Quran, the Vatican has this stuff in their 1 mile underground library. He wrote this about Lemuria. The nation of Lemuria is surrounded by a vast uncharted land by a great sea called, here's the original name for the Pacific Ocean, Avaluchio Pochi. All right, so it's Avaluchii. Our ancestors did have some long names. I'm like, whoa, man. All right, Lemuria is 1,008 miles. Its capital city is Tohoboloma. So that's Tohobolmona. Lemuria is ruled by a king, Umbungongo. You want to spell that? I told you, our ancestors were like, hey. Unbongongo. Other cities in Lemuria is Yohadia, Bunganga, Hondokan, Monumba, and I'm not even going to say this name. It's a long name here. And there's a lot of consonants here. But anyway, I'll read on. The population of Lemuria is 12 million persons. Tohololomba has 5 million persons and is 50 by 30 miles in area. I'm going to stop here real quick. I said this before, and this is for the new individuals here. The remnants of Lemuria is your Hawaiian Islands and what they call Easter Island, but I tell you the original name is, they call it Rapanui. And some of you have already studied this history, which I'm not taking for granted. I know a lot of you are already aware of things. That's the island that had those big heads that's buried under the earth, and then they notice when they dig deeper, it's bigger statues, almost full body. So, all the buildings in Lemuria are 1 story, but very comfortable and made of stone. Natural resources are iron, copper, gold, diamond, silver, wild fruits, wild vegetables, and sulfur. Industries are soap making, spice manufacturing, milling, clothes making, weaving, pottery making, jewelry making. Their religions are tribal, and the nation is made up of 6 major tribes and 50 minor ones. The highest mountain in Lemuria is Boham, Porgong. Yeah, Porgong. So I'm going to spell that. Boungah. The next word, Porgong. You say that now. Porobong. With an elevation of 14,800 feet, the major range of mountains, which are known as Yohad, run north and south. There are many rivers and lakes and springs in the nation. Lemuria was founded by the Lemurians from the time of the settlement of the earth. The oldest settlement in Lemuria is Umbunga. That's Ombogaa. On the Tahunga River. And that's Tigounga River. Over on the next page, which I've showed y'all, which was the alphabet. And this is the part of the history that I touched a little bit upon, where I said, the Vatican, when you was going through the Crusades, they were burning a lot of the books, and this was one of the many other books, the Holy Corbett, and of course all of your math and other sciences. They were burning it and calling it the works of the devil. I think I referred to y'all to see a movie that came out about 20 years ago. It was an HBO movie, Nostradamus, and it showed how they used to have their big bonfires of your books and what have you. And there's a scene in the movie, because it seemed like it was very accurate of Nostradamus' life, where he wound up marrying one of the women who was like a doctor, I say resident. She was studying under a doctor, same as him. They got married. And what happened was the doctor initiated Nostradamus into one of the sacred orders. And what I had explained before was, when you have the Rosicrucians and Freemasons and all them, they were coming across this work, your old work. And not all the Christian Europeans were like, let's burn this works of the devil. Someone was like, hey, wait a minute. This work these Moors had is very valuable. And what you have to understand, when they destroyed you and ran you out of Ireland and Europe and all that, you fell. Majority of their civilization was illiterate. The only people that could read was their priests and their rulers. And the majority of the people, the serfs, they were illiterate. So this is why when you did rule and you came into Europe, their own Christian people damn near opened the gates, if you will, and welcomed you Moors in, because you clothed and fed them. You always had a society where, yeah, you ruled, but you were a kind ruler. You were into the public teaching education. You made all the citizens put money in, and people, it was compulsory. Everybody had education. And those who no longer wanted to be Christians, these are Europeans. I forgot what book it was. It may have been the Story of the Moors in Spain or the Golden Age of the Moors. That it was known that, you know, if a Christian no longer wanted to be a Christian, they just meet with the Caliph or Sultan and say, hey, I don't no longer follow this stuff. I believe Prophet Muhammad is the only God, and Allah, this and that. He would go. And they would go wash him up. Now, just not told is a lot of the Christians, part of their belief is dirt. They did not wash that. I remember little charity here. Yeah, they didn't wash that. That was the major part of their religion. Nobody don't want to talk about that. Please pick up the story of the Moors in Spain. Right after you fell in so-called 1492, the Moriscos were Moors who were forced, or they went on and became Christians, but still being Moors. And it will say you took on the hats and breeches and even the dirt of the Christians. There was one treatise that Dr. Jose Pimenta Bey had said back in the early 90s in one of his lectures, that it was a nun in a remote cloister bragged that she had not bathed, and the only thing that she washed on herself was the tips of her fingers so she can cook. And they wondered why they had typhoid Mary. So when you're reading that history, especially some of you that went to college like me, you took Western Civ, I laugh. They're like, yeah, this is the black flag, and we just don't know. Of course you know why you're behind. Come on, man. Why y'all drop it dead? You wasn't washing it. And another thing, we all know how important it is when you cook in and you build trash up, and you got to get out the house. Guess what they did? Follow me with the camera. Window open, and just threw it out. That's how they lived. And they wonder why they were dying. That's just one of many things. Yeah, I would go crazy. I told myself, I can't stand cameras. Daggone man. I keep stuff. I can't wait. So I can imagine you do that. How many rats and stuff you had? Yes. They didn't wash. They, matter of fact, in history, they condemned one of their Christian kings and said he was a secret Muslim because he bathed. Also, don't forget, when you hear about them talking about the Renaissance, what they don't tell you 200 to 300 years prior, it used to be Moorish Renaissance. So they say, yeah, he's a Renaissance man. They would really say, oh, you're a Moorish Renaissance man. And all that meant was he or she, when clothes look half decent, and for one, they wash their poop, and they use oils like we do. We don't wear clothes on, we wear oils, and they carry themselves in a refined way, spoke refined, and obviously through conversation, you obviously know they had education. And you knew about a whole lot of other stuff. This is what I tell you, what Freemasonry imitates you. This is why they promoted the brothers and sisters to study the 7 liberal arts. All right. So I ain't even going into it, but the brother asked, and that was a good thing, because you Moors need to hear and need to be aware. Keep hearing about the Lemurian history. And I thank you so much, brother, because you always bring up good things. But I trust that'll open you up. But trust me, when I keep giving you little keys, during the weeks or whatever, you get time. And the good thing about it, a lot of the books I've just realized I'm telling you to get or pick up, sometimes they put them on audio on YouTube. So you can pull them up. Like I told you, I'll get The Power of Suggestion by Dr. Murphy. So you can understand more when I get done with the suggestion, Power of Suggestion, so you can understand that. A lot of that stuff is on YouTube. Again, I said earlier, get the book Cryon, because Cryon goes into giving up some of your history. And those who will pick that book up and know who they are, like this brother is one of our artists. You might pick up some of this stuff and it might give you some techniques on your architecture and it'll ring with you. There's another brother that's going to be an artist that's going to come here. He just started drawing a year ago, and he's doing works like that portrait up there. All right, so anyway, get back to the third, because I got some stuff to really give you here. I just have to recap, and it's good because we got the people here. Like again, I said the third law, which is dominance, law of dominance, the suggestions are given in an authoritative position, way. The fourth law is delayed action. So this is where you sometimes see stuff depicted in movies or demonstrations of hypnosis where someone is giving a post-suggestion and a post-hypnotic suggestion, and later on it is activated. So the fourth law, again, it's a suggestion that is given and is activated later mainly by a cue or something like that. So like if someone says, I don't have the confidence to get on stage because I'm scared to talk to people, and I get stage fright. And so the person that's going to drop the suggestion says, all right, well, when you feel that as soon as you get on stage, and you always hear this is funny. So they'll say, just picture everybody with no clothes on. Yeah, you know what I mean? So then that'll be a cue to them. So they get nervous, but then they look out and they're like, all right, and then they feel comfortable. So all that is just a suggestion that's given a delayed action. That's why it's called delayed action. The fifth law is called the law of association, and it's kind of similar to the fourth. And what that is slightly similar, but again, it's activated in an associate stimulus. So we'll use the example of a person who wants to get a raise in their job, and someone give them the suggestion, say, all right, here's the confidence. What you'll do is, as soon as you feel nervous and you want to ask your employer for that raise, what you do is you just take your right hand on your vest and tug it, and all of a sudden your confidence builds. So it's kind of similar, but that's what it means. It's just a stimulus. It means, slightly similar, but it's an active stimulus. So because they, tug their vest or they rub their tie, and then, triggers the suggestion. Now here's one that is very important. These last two are very important, but this one here is one that's kept away from the masses, and magicians use this. And even the dark magicians, I tell you, that are advertising agencies, I tell you, and it's called the law of imagination and will. Some of the other students already seen me use an example, and I think you don't mind me using it real quick for you people. Remember last time? All right. The will of suggestion, we're going to get this moving, I'm going to get this stuff. The will of imagination and will is very important. Magicians use this. All right, so I'm giving you a lot of tips. But what you must understand, you're always dealing with imagination. The right side is where your imagination. All right. And your willpower to agree with something or not. Here's an example. Last time the beloved brother and I did, we did an example of me saying this plank here, this is wide as this, and I got it on the floor, and I told him to go over to the end, And I even fastened it, but it's on the floor, and we do this history. And I tell him, now, brother, walk across this plank and tell him to walk. And see how he walks with no problem. All right? He's walking on the plank, no problem. Matter of fact, if I tell him, go ahead, man, you quick walk, all that, whatever, it's history, people watch. This is what we got to do. So go ahead and walk, show how you're so confident that you know you ain't gonna fall. So go ahead and walk, man. See, now I'm doing my Charlie. Now see, he was walking that way, right? And see, brother's just walking. He wasn't even going, man, why you looking at me like that, man? God damn, man. Now here's the difference. See how he did this with no problem? Now let's imagine telling him now he gonna walk this same plank. But we done went to 2 buildings that are side by side, but got a distance from them, and it's 20 stories up. And we fastened it on both ends on one roof, and we fastened it on the other roof. Matter of fact, we even did the wind test, made sure the wind ain't moving. Now we tell him, all right, brother, you go ahead and walk on across there, man. Why you tripping, man? You ain't, come on, brother, walk. Now, if we are following him, you know, as we seeing the situation, you know, we kind of make it a little funny, but if you follow what I'm saying, the reason why the person would be hesitant to do it, we're invoking the law of imagination and will. What it is internally happening is this. Thank you so much. What is happening is this. Yeah, he had the will to walk across it and it was on the floor. It's the same plank. It's nothing different. We even fastened it, made sure it wouldn't move. But what happened is this. Now that it's 20 stories up, even though it's fastened, it won't move. It's the same distance, and he walked it, he damn near did everything on it. But now what's happening now, he's now having the imagination that, all right, yo, that's a long drop. What if I fall? And then the internal conflict is, I might fall. No, I ain't gonna fall. It's the same distance. I did it with and you're going back and forth internally. That's what's happening. I'm making it on a simple level, but it's done to you all on different levels. It's just a matter of giving you the basic formula so you can apply it when others are using it to you. Why the heck do you think they, cops are going to get you in fear? But a lot of you don't have fear because you're understanding the jurisprudence and you're applying it. These little sciences I'm giving you also add to when you communicate with these individuals. I already told y'all some things Masonic Lodge and Star Wars, but we'll get into that a little bit. So anyway, back to what I'm saying. So what's happening is the internal conflict of the imagination of you falling is winning over your will. You understand? The key thing is the person is counting on your imagination because imagination is always going to win out. That's the importance of understanding the sixth law of will and imagination. Your imagination is always going to win out. So the thought of falling is such a strong imagination or idea that then fear is thought of, and that's what then stops the person from walking across. Now the seventh law, and I said this, and some of you have already probably should by now completed the video. It's a long video. Remember the one I said for the seventh law? It's the law of rhythm and conversation, or the law of hypnotic rhythm. And it's a video that I'll refer you to. And it's called Outwitting the Devil, like the brother had said. Please hear that. And all it's saying is you can all then get caught into a hypnotic rhythm. But that is why I'm giving you all these laws and I'm giving you these things. So now this will help your tools of you utilizing when you're using your jurisprudence documents or whatever, or how you operate. Because again, remember, I was taking you back to the simplicity of what I'm saying. You're fighting other suggestions that others have been contorting to or following. You understand what I'm saying? This is why the individuals get angry. Like, this is such a law. You're like, no, that's a color law. It may kind of smell like it, whatever, but it ain't law. And I'm not caught up under your mass hypnotic spell. So that's why I'm making it simpler for you so you can understand. You can communicate to these individuals like, yo, all right. And then when you're talking to them right, remember what I told you, how you call a European man, or if it's a brother that's wearing a robe, what did I say you call him?
Yeah.
Brother Hiram. Brother Hiram. All right? Hiram. Because remember, they are Eastern Stars and Freemasons. They're imitating you. You understand what I'm saying? You're on Brother Hiram. And so, what you know they are aware of. They know. All right, now, since we did that, any of you and all of you have your Circle 7 Quran? Yes, no?
Yes.
Cool. I don't know if I have went into this, but I wanted to give you this because a lot of what goes into, when I go into some of the science in the Holy Prophet, it is reflected in the Circle 7. And I love Brother Prophet Juali because the works that he have done and revealed to you, this brother, he's a beautiful man. He's a beautiful man. It was funny because before the sister picked me up at the train station, I ran into, I was waiting for a sister, and a brother walked up to me, and he said he recognized me from the videos and stuff. Like, I'm like, kind of feeling like, wow, because it's been a while. Like I said, I usually teach in private, but he actually said, yeah, man, I've seen some of the work and what have you. And he made me reflect on an event that happened. I'm not sure if I had shared it with you all, but I said it to him, and I'm going to repeat it tonight. He was telling me how he visited the Masonic Lodge in Philly. I had mentioned that to you all. I have? Yes. All right. Again, I want to do what we did before, and I love y'all so much for your patience.
Microphone.
And for your patience and your cooperation. This is one of the booklets that you will get from the Masonic Lodge in Philly, right across the street from the City Hall. I'm going to pass it around. When Father and I used to nationalize people, I found this spot back in '87 when I got out of the Navy, and I used to have to ride from Camden, New Jersey to Philly to get over to the VA, to the Met Center, to get to the VA hospital. One of the vets there. Anyway, I decided one day to go in, and it was a free tour. And what you'll find in this building, they are, I need a paper clip. Somebody give me a paper clip if you have one. And I can borrow. I want you all to see this because they have at least about 5 to 6 lodge rooms in this one building. And one of the ones I'm marking is 2 favorite lodge rooms they have. One they call Oriental Hall. And the guy that's on tour will say they should call it the Moorish room. I want you to understand, it's not just no museum. It's an actual functioning lodge. The Oriental Hall is built just like the Alhambra in Spain. And then my second favorite lodge room is the Egyptian room. So we'll pass it around so y'all can see. Now, I was telling him, I said, brother, I said, you made me remember, I said, because I always talk about the elders that blessed me with this knowledge. And one of them was Brother Clifford Hazel L. He was not only 33rd, he was also 96th degree. He was an elder Moor. And what he did, he one day decided to let's have a Moorish outing. We have Moors that was coming from all over, from New York, some from this area, Philadelphia, and also New Jersey. And we went to the George Washington Memorial Museum in Alexandria, Virginia. Now, this took place in 2000. Now, prior to that, my father and I, we all went back in like 93. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we used to always kept going to New York talking to the elders, and they would all say, yeah, man, because, you know, they have the word Islam sealed Library of Congress. We'd be like, what? For real, man? Yo, man, let's go, man. Yeah. You got pictures of it? He's like, no. All right. Yeah, and you know, and all high knowledge and stuff like this, and then they got a big feds. Like, yeah, well, what? Yeah, you got a picture of it? No. I said, you don't want to go this thing down. I'm tired of it. So we went to the damn George Washington Memorial, and the first daggone thing I did, I took a picture of the Ben Bay feds. Got it on the phone and give it to y'all so you can circulate. And it's on display. And it's black with diamond studs, Ben Bay. Got it in the case. So I had already been there. So this particular day, Clifford Hezel made it so we not only went there, we went to the house of the temple. That's the house for the 33rd. Matter of fact, all it's supposed to have been said that all 33rds around the world, the records of us is in there and other stuff. So I recommend for you all to go and see it. Here's the story. So when we did that, that was the last time I traveled with Moors. I always told on my stuff. They pissed me off, and I'm still talking. I ain't mentioned nobody's name, so if y'all see it, I don't care. These Moors need to know. Here's what I told the brother earlier. I said, bro, we went to the museum, and we stopped at the George Washington Museum so we can see the feds and whatever. And me, Clifford Hezel, and his wife, we would sit back while. Now, this is a whole room tour of Moors with fezzes and turbans on. I've never been so embarrassed in my life. They sat there and acted like children in a high school. We had to keep telling them to shut up, and it was an actual tour. Could you imagine seeing beautiful crowns in their head, and everybody, yeah. I was like, what? I'll show you pictures of this, but I was hot. But with Clifford Hezel and I was trying to do, because every time him and I would talk, everybody down on our coast, we can't talk. So this was a moment we could talk, but we couldn't even hear ourselves. So we ain't gonna talk about the guy he's giving the tour. It's like, yes, so this is the work, yada, yada, yada. And they all stand out, yeah. Matter of fact, it's about a little bit more numbers than all of you here tonight. And they would just laugh. Mixed in with other people, and I was so embarrassed. I'm like, these are Moors. I see you shaking your head, beloved. You would have did more than that. I'm just leading you up to wait till I can finish with this. I'll travel with him no more. I travel by myself. When I get done with it, you be like, you know what? Priest, what am I see why you talking about? Watch. So, it's like, excuse me, let me go check. Yo, keep this down. You're acting up, talking. Guy finally got us to see the feds and see some other stuff. When you finally go, you'll know what I'm talking about and see the other thing. So he said, I got something I'm going to tell everybody when we get outside. I was like, all right, yeah. He's like, yeah, I'll tell everybody when we get on outside. Boy, they don't really piss me off. That's what So, and I'm not teasing him because I love him. God rest his soul. I really wish he met y'all all, because y'all are beautiful people and y'all would love him too. So we get outside in the parking lot. Mind you now, I'm traveling, I'm thinking I'm knowing stuff. He said, all right, son, stand right here, son. So everybody's coming out, they still talking all down now in the parking lot, because now we got to get in the vans and we then got to go to D.C., which is just around the corner to the House of Temple. So he said this. I'm pissed to this day. The news is 2018, so that's 18 years ago. He said, y'all act so much like a goddamn fool. Had you not acted stupid, I would have asked the man to show us the prophet's chair. I never knew nothing about that. And I'm still pissed to this day. This man passed. I don't even know if it's a password I can ask him if I go back, or if one of y'all go back and see it. And I thought I knew some stuff. They have Drew Ali chairs somewhere up there. And mind you, I told you that was the second time I had been there. And obviously you still see I am still pissed out 18 years ago. I'm hot. When he said that, I was like, what? I'm still talking about this day. I don't mean to put that over, but I want to let you know there is so much more to this Moors. There is ethics, and there is conduct. And those Moors acted like niggas off the street. I wanted to do a Mo Curly Larry thing and just get one of them football things with inflated hands and just slap every one of them. And do sad things with my family. Now I'm going to tell you one thing I was blessed in an elder. And this elder of mine was in the Glass Earl Temple. He was the Grand Governor. And he finally warmed up to me. This is in the early 90s. He gave me access to, which I'm going to give you all. So I said, so how to live I'm going to be able to give to you. Remember those who were in the temple that the prophet had said, I gave you, the Muslims released this and the keys of the east, and I took what you needed. But there's even more. Go outside beyond these doors, there's more. If I tell you everything, you go back to sleep. Well, I actually have the source holy scripture from the Holy Book, the Holy Quran. It's called Infinite Wisdom. So I'm going to make sure y'all get that. Here's the story with that, and it was something else that was a blessing that night that I got from this elder. Like again, I said he was a distant cousin of mine, and he was kind of iffy about me. I was young, in my early 20s, back in the early 90s, and he's a barber, so he lived in the back of the barber. This is in Camden, and finally let me and my buddy, come and we talk, because that was one thing I always did. I always gave respect. Please do that. Give respect to the elder Moors that you know. Some of you may not know. I'm trying to try to get them here, especially for you sisters. To say Raha, Rashida Bey is in Philly. She is the sister who's also a co-founder of the Great Seal Association of Moorish Affairs. She was the one who represented us and brought my father and us and my family into the Great Seal back in the early 90s. And she's still alive. All right. So this elder said, Hannibal, he said, go in my top drawer and look at the item. Can't remember so much for work was so long ago. But one of them was a blue cloth. He told me to pick it up. It was like a dark blue burlap, kind of like that dark blue, your suitcase. And so I'm holding it, and this is what he said. He said, brother, what you got there, he said it was an elder sister who was visiting all the temples and had a blanket. And she wanted to share it with all the Moors before she passed. She was a sister who housed Prophet Ali at her house when he was alive, and that was a blanket he utilized. And she kept it. And she decided, before she go to form, she didn't want to pass a form like all the elders were doing, and they were going to the grave with this knowledge. And a lot of stuff was getting lost. Please remind me about Marcus Garvey. Somebody say Marcus Garvey when I finish this, so you really know what I'm saying. So he said, so she decided to visit different temples around the nation, and she cut pieces of the blanket and gave to him. So I'm sitting there holding a piece of a blanket that covered and touched Prophet Ali. I had tears in my eyes. And I was like, wow. And then he said, pick up that book, and he let us copy it, and it's the Infinite Wisdom that I just told you that I want to make sure that you have access to. And you will see it's got the chapters that you see here in the Circle 7, and it's other chapters that you can see that he didn't take. And you see what Raleigh had said. I took what you needed to get you out of the state that you were in. When y'all are at the level what you're getting is what we call addict stuff. The stuff that we're giving you, my father and I, this stuff you would have probably put time in an addict chamber before somebody departed to you. All right, but y'all gonna have access to that. Thank you. In the early 90s. Matter of fact, it was from my cousin Ali Moore. His name was Ali Moore Ill. He was a Grand Governor, and my second temple that I was under. They were under the original prophet in Glassboro, New Jersey. I went by the shop to say, hey, peace, hey, what's going on? And he proceeded to tell me, remember, I said he was a barber. He had retired. He moved down south. And I got to see him back in 2007 when he visited the temple to let us all know. And that was the last time I seen him. He said this. He said that somebody had died at that time, so this is 93 or 94, that was a follower of Marcus Garvey. And they had boxes of original Marcus Garvey literature and stuff. And when the person died, their children and them threw the stuff in the trash. Somebody found out, they went in the back of the house, they found all the stuff in the trash. Put out the trash. So anyway, so now, I brought all that up to say this. I'm going to give you the understanding of the 3, the 5, and the 7. Remember I told you Clifford Hezel was trying to activate what was alive when Drew Ali was alive? Your Moorish rite of Freemasonry, you call. And what you must understand, remember I told you there's basically the 3 levels in Freemasonry you're all aware of, which is the inter-apprentice, and the next level is fellow of the craft, and the next level is the master mason. All right. Well, here are the chapters that deal with those first, second, and third degrees, so you understand. Chapter 3 of your Circle 7 Quran, it should be page 7. That is your chapter for your first degree, or that of the inter-apprentice. All right? That is the beginnings of laying the foundation. Remember, inter-apprentice is someone who is starting a craft and they're learning. All right?
Father Hannibal, can't you speak louder and repeat that again?
Oh, all right. Yeah. Chapter 3 in your Circle 7 Quran is the chapter that deals with, if you would say, your first degree in your Moorish rite of Freemason. That's for the inter-apprentice. All right? So, the importance of that is the lesson of Elihu's lesson, the unity of life. And of course, it talks about your higher self and your lower self. One must always know about his or her higher self and lower self, especially if they travel on the path of enlightenment. So that is the chapter that deals with that. So this is very important. Study this. Chapter 5. Okay, sure. All right, so before I go back to chapter 3, the basic core understanding of chapter 3, which is for the first degree, is strength. Right? Now, chapter 5, that's your chapter for the second degree. That's what they may say, fellow of the craft. You would say adept. The key core lesson for that, chapter 5, that's your page 10 in your Circle 7 Quran, is after the feast, the homeward journey, the missing Yahshua. When you say Jesus, the search for him, his parents find him in the temple. He goes with them to Nazareth, the symbolic meaning of the carpenter's tool. Again, chapter 5 is for the fellow of the craft, or you more, you say adept. And the core meaning of that chapter is stability. It's stability. I'm laughing. It's like, I'm looking at my old beat up Quran here, and I'm praise God, I still got it. Because as many times I've been taught and I don't lost books. People, I had individuals a couple of times, they see my book and they see all my notes and stuff on it. And they actually literally was trying to offer me a lot of money just to get my Quran because of my notes. if you can, I'll let you peek. Make sure I do the class. Remember, we're still on chapter 5, and I told you how important it is. I noticed I just made my little drawings of the tools that they're describing. It's all going to come clear when I start giving you more of your Eastern Star and what you call Masonic. But I tell you, Freemasons are imitating me. That's for those of you who are new. I'm just giving it to you. They're imitating you, but for the sake of now, I'm telling you because I am initiated Magi. And they just came across our literature and just tried to revise it. But remember, the Europeans, them being Christians, and their mindset and their vibration, they can only interpret and understand to a certain level. Because when they set it up to try to research or to rebuild your science, they left woman out. Because remember now, when you have an atom, you have your atom, you have your negative, positive. Right. And you can't have an atom with all proton, no negative. Why? It's out of balance. And that's when you then have an atomic bomb. So it's out of balance. But in your ancient Magian priesthood, they held it blessed. The sisters element is needed. The sisters had the same rank. This is why also I told y'all to study the international Freemasonry. And some of you had, I think one of you had brought up about the Queen of England having a Masonic thing on her. And I said, yeah, because she's in Europe and she crossed the pond, and her being royalty, she has access to those. So she's most likely probably a member in the international Freemasonry. That's why she's looked at as a Master Mason. But here's the key. They call themselves Eastern Stars. You Moabite sisters, you're the star in the East. Mm-hmm. Remember when I had told you, you are Ruth. Because there are 5 key sisters in the order. And Ruth is the 2nd degree. All right, so they picked 5 distinguished sisters out of the Bible. And basically, you're just trying to learn the qualities of being as good as our sisters. But this thing what I'm saying to you is, no matter whatever they do, they still can't leave us Moors out. And they know the Moorish sister is a very important element to all of this because she's the supreme gateway into this plane of existence. All right, and one of the other things real quick, the way the sisters would pray, I do remember this in order for above to go higher, we had to be in that order. You pray with your hands where you want, because this is where your solar plexus or your energy is from. Usually when the sisters go through their monthly process, that's the most potent time. The pains that you actually feel. I don't want to go too much into this. You should have a sister to tell you this and teach you this. But all it is you feeling movement of the planets. You are magnetic. We are electric. All right? And that's the most potent time for the sister. I don't want to be disrespectful and go into that. It's kind of relative to what I'm talking about, but you sisters need to know. I'm going to try to reach out to the elder, to Sister Rashida Bey, the Seder Raha, and see if I can get her to come just to even visit, and so some of you sisters can get with her and talk and learn some of this. Because she was also a researcher and was around a lot of the original students of St. Charles Mosley Bay. All right. But yeah, you sisters need to know this. Again, this is why I'm telling you these sciences, because it seems simple, but I see some of you wave your head and go, all right, you get it, because I know I'm filling in some of the holes that you already know on some things. So, but know that is your most potent time. And that's the time when you can then focus and you can pull from the universe and manifest what you want. All right, so I'm going to talk into that too. If you can, make another page. Don't put this on the pages y'all writing notes. Put this on a page, a couple pages, because this is a little later, but I want y'all to get this. These are the Lemurian sigils that I'm going to go into the candle, or that you would draw these on your candles. All right? So, but I had to tell you that, again, because all of it ties in. Everybody keep playing the game, you know what I mean? The man's body and Allah, and this, that, and the woman, this, that. And they just need to tell you straight up. You radiate a magnetic field and always get manipulated, and you can manipulate others if you are conscious. Yes.
What made you want to study Moorish? Like study into the history of Moors?
Me, my father. I was born when my father was an assistant minister in the Nation of Islam, and as you see, I'm old years, so my birthday just passed. I'm 51. When he was in, he said that when they opened the meetings, they in the Nation of Islam, they would say prayers and they would mention individuals that they would, any of you who come from that cipher, you might know, you might fill in. So I'm not too much familiar. That goes way back when I was younger, so I don't remember all that. I don't even remember the temple. But anyway, they would say, give him honor, Farad, and Elijah, and they would mention Noble Drew Ali. And so Father asked the question. Now, for those who may be from the Camden area, and the mosque that was on Broadway, I remember going there back in 75 when I was a little boy. He said when he asked, who's Noble Drew Ali? And you have to ask this Grace when he gets back. But he said, they half didn't really give him much of an answer. But the next day from that point on, they never mentioned Noble Drew Ali no more. They took his name out of the prayer. Now, let's speed up until 1980. Y'all notice, y'all familiar with me, I always give me vignettes. This is when we started getting Moorish knowledge. So by 1980, there was this real handsome, smooth guy that I always associated close to Billy D. Williams, whom y'all call Taj. I call him Daddy. And he had a blind date set up for him. Out of this story, you will have someone else that I will direct you to. I don't know, some of you probably know, some of you don't. So it's family. Anyway, so he goes, come home. He's a carpenter, so he'd always wear his regular clothes, and he's in regular clothes. And the person was like, oh, that's him. Oh, all right. He's like, all right, let me go upstairs and change. I'll come down. Daddy, he was always a sharp dresser. Always sharp dresser. As soon as you come down and had his hair done, kind of like Billy D. Williams thing, he'd have his full beard and have a trim light, You come down in his suit, looking smooth and everything. And future stepmom said, whoa! Oh, I can work with this. So they started dating, and come to find out, Her Highness, Queen Doria Bey, stepmom. So look her up on YouTube. She's from Baltimore, Maryland. She and Daddy started building, and she was filling in some of the holes. Here's this funny story. Some of you, I know I told you that, but let me say it to these people. So, this is back in 1980, and this is why I also say to you all, y'all spoiled. A lot of this jurisprudence work that y'all got, you talking this non-talk, this, that, y'all spoiled. A lot of Moors didn't have that when we was going to the temple. Here's the story. One day, my mom driving down the street, Manhattan Avenue, Bountiful Avenue, Camden. She was speeding. She had a turban on. She was going to go to the temple, open up. And she speeding, and she got pulled over. So anyway, she pulled over. She's like, all right, I know I'm speeding. I'm called up. I'm just trying to, get to the temple. I got open. I'm late. Mr. Pigley, man, wanted to be ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Say ignorant. Ignorant. And he sat there and insulted my mom and said, with that little red rack on your head. My stepmom, she an Aries. High head. She said, oh, I got your birth. You wait to court. This is why I always tell you Moors were spoiled. Because back then, these Moors didn't have the jurisprudence stuff that y'all had. So now, Daddy was obviously kind of dressed like I usually wear my turban, but I'm dressed down. He had a kufi on. Went to court. So a lot of you now are experiencing because you're civically active, so you know the procedure. They usually whittle the court down and clear it out, or they just straight up clear everything out and just leave y'all up in it. And that's what he did. So the magistrate wind up clearing everybody out and just had my dad and my stepmom. And then they asked my dad a question. And he realized he wasn't in bed, he wasn't conscious. So they told him to the kufi off. Then they told him to excuse himself. Yeah, and leave. So now it's my mom and the citation issuing Roman terrorists. Soldiers. I call them civil authority terrorists. I just seen a video earlier with this ex-football player slamming down on his head. Yeah. I was shocked. Just seen it earlier. I'm pissed. Anyway, we get back to the story. Ooh, I'm pissed. Anyway, so clear the courtroom. And my stepmom, you know, if you get to know her, she heavy. I love her. Mom, if you see this, I love you. It's been a while since I've seen you, Your Highness. She said, oh yeah, I'm speeding or whatever. Matter of fact, if any of y'all know her personally, talk to her, get her to tell you the story. So she said, yeah, you know, I was speeding and everything, you know, but, you know, he ain't had to sit there and insult me. He called my holy headdress a red rag on my head. Magistrate said, what? Yeah, he said a red rag on the head. He didn't say that shit. Come here. Made the officer come up to the court. Get down on your knees and apologize. Father, dismiss the case. Get her to tell you the story. That day, we went to the Moorish Temple of American Camden in 1980, and that was the story. I know it's a long story, but you wanted to ask, you know. I've always wanted to be like, when I seen Prophet Jurali, I was like, wow, that brother. And it went back with my image when I was a young boy going to the movie seeing Sinbad. And I said, I just had an affinity. I said, I knew that's me. Right? My turban being in my, you know, at that time I was a Muslim. I was like, yo. But learning the good work that this brother had done, and also giving respect to the Lamb, Grand Sheik, that great sage, Hannibal Bey, you know, is Elijah Muhammad. God bless him. I was like, I know that there was more knowledge out there. And you might be one of the newer people. You may have seen the video that I dropped or not. But I also found out, and I'll just repeat it, that with this knowledge that Drew Ali had dropped, a lot of people wasn't putting it out there the way it was supposed to be. Only one person did, which was seeing better. And we found out it was a key core people that was a part of Drew Ali's Adder Chamber, 5 of them. And out of them 5, 4 of them became millionaires off that knowledge. CM Bey was the only one that did it. That was my main motivation, beloved. That was my motivation. I said, I want to know what they do. And so I was blessed to at least get some, and then get into sacred orders. I knew Jurali was obviously aware, was a part of, because he had to go to Kenya. And also being blessed in the whole order that Prophet Jesus is a part of, because I'm also a Shella in the Great White Brotherhood. All of these sacred orders, you were leaders, you were the hierophants of it. So that was mainly my main thing. You know what I mean? I just wanted the truth, and I told the Lord, I said, I know that there's more science beyond we already knew the Circle 7, but the Holy Quran and Mecca, the Bible. I said, Lord, give this to me, and I will give it to my people. And gleaning some higher truth from some elders that passed on, it gave some great heavy keys. So I'm one of the ones that's really taking you far. I'm not really a pioneer in it. I'm just giving you stuff that elders had said, but they passed on. I was blessed. When we went to the first temple in Camden, there was a brother named Elijah. He was the assistant Grand Sheik. This elder walked with the original prophet. And I used to sit, when me and my sister used to go to the temple on Sunday school, we had to wait for Daddy and stepmom to pick us up. We were teen, I was young, this is back in 80, 81. So we're talking, I'm like 12, 13, whatever. And he would sit and talk to us. And he would tell us stories about the prophet. And it was other things that they would say. And so it was keys that always stuck in my head. On top of that, my father being, you might as well say, he kind of like a newer, a minor prophet. So he's dropping a lot of stuff that got lost. and stuff that we figure out and research and brought to the people. So, but again, all we doing is just scraping the surface. Y'all the ones really digging up and going to be the ones that putting out more. So you know, I say you spoiled, but here's the good thing. You're operating on stuff that only an elite or a small section of Moors was only working. They weren't wearing the regalia so much. They weren't operating the civics. I told the story when Brother Untitled Bey left the temple. He took a lot of greater number of Moors with him, and the Moors temples were almost empty. And that's why I tell you Moors, I said, be yourselves. The prophet already said it. You know, speak the way you used to greet each other. I respect the Nation of Islam because they held on to some of your Moorish customs. And I gave y'all the I was about, you knew what I was leading to. Because I gave the history of, y'all say Islam, that's cool. But I gave the history. It's nothing wrong with it, but I wanted to let you know, you get some Moors that get so caught up in it, they come across somebody else, they want to get in an argument with some stuff, like, all right, you don't know your history. When Ali was on the scene, you greeted in salutation, assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum assalam. What had happened was, when he died, them dirty Moors that was in the temple that got him out the way, took the payoff, and then there was other things happening where the other Moors was leaving Elijah. They couldn't tell each other apart in the street. So then the Moors in the temple said, all right, on a grand level, they was like, all right, we gotta have this grand meeting. We gotta be able to identify people that left with him with his newfound something. And now we got these Moors. Now they done made something. That's what the John Gibbons Ill wanted to be proper reincarnated for holiness in his interpretation. But anyway, they said, well, this is the way we're going to recognize each other. When we see each other in the street, Elijah and them, they walked away with that. If you see some old pictures of them, they were looking like y'all. And then he made them change. And I always pointed out, too, to notice, some of the brothers need to understand, there was nobody else wearing a crown but Elijah. I digress. Back to my point. So they said, well, what we'll do is to recognize each other in the street. The Moors and the Moorish Science Temple of America will say Islam in greeting and peace in departing. That's how that came about. That's how that came about. But be yourselves. Assalamu alaikum. You got some Moors in Ohio, they use your old Moorish Latin because you know the old dead language is your Moorish Latin, and you already know Lemurian that I'm giving some of y'all, you're hearing. But they'll greet Veda Makum. And Viam, this is their greeting, And then, like some of the sisters we've seen here, they wear the fezzes out, And then one sister actually wearing her actual crown, the color, But the point is, travel. Always say that, travel. And never get caught in being arrogant because we give you higher knowledge. Don't use it as an excuse and, I don't go there because, they're not really, no. But I know you Moors are getting the science that I'm giving you, the importance of what we call hypnosis, the power of words and stuff, and programming, so you understand. It may seem simple, but you need that. You need to keep having those things repeated over and over, because the worst thing that really gets my is to see somebody with a fez on their head, they still talking, calling people black. I'm like, that's one damn thing you don't say as a Moor. You already know. You don't. So what that is, that's a place of deprogramming. To make it more simple, any of you who are in the military, especially if you went out on assignments, and then you come back, they don't release them soldiers out in the public. They gotta what? They gotta debrief them. That's what you're doing. You came off the street. So in the Moorish Science Temple, the reason why they keep saying, they say you're not no nigga color, black folk. Colors, anything the same, varnish or dye. Black, according to science, needs death. It sounds simple, but you need it to be repeated. Why? I took the head off, but I said the brain, the right, and then the left. You need to what? Have those suggestions keep being repeated alongside. So it can what? Go past this barrier to get into your subconscious mind to reprogram. But here's the other thing too. You all are part of the prophecy. Because the prophet told them, don't let them run you out. I tell you this, don't go play the game and get caught because we give you higher stuff and then go in there. Y'all don't know nothing. Get back, G. No, don't do that. Be cool. Hell, all the nonsense stuff I did, guess what I did? And I love telling my story when y'all was coming here with the paper chase. I need this document because let me just go ahead over here. I need to go buy it and then do this thing. I tell you a story when my child was born. I was only 17 years old. I wasn't even daggone fully do legal stuff. And I put it off, taking my name, but I'm damn sure wasn't going to let my daughter be born. This is back in 85. Didn't want my baby to have no baby, no slave name. I made sure she had a baby. Guess what my did when my Moorish little butt took my behind in the temple and sat there for them 3 days. They already knew who the hell I was. I was tied to son. And they practically ran everybody out. And when that third damn day came, I sat there and said, yeah, and we did the whole ceremony, had my stuff, and guess what I did? Next. Took my behind to Social Security. Yeah, 17 years old. Excuse me, ma'am. I want to get my nationality card. I want to correct my name. For what reason, son? Religious reason? Yeah. All right, but just when you sign here, and within a week or two, you have your name back. So I tell you, y'all spoiled, but it's all good. I'm just saying, don't like Will Smith said, smell yourself. Check yourself, because you'll never grow anyway if you sit up there being arrogant. So I got all this knowledge. You see, sometimes I make little funnies because I don't take myself serious. I just trust one time I don't embarrass myself. I have a boogie on my nose, but I don't take nothing serious. You got all this knowledge. I forget some things. And guess what? The universe will bless you and give you more knowledge. You're obviously being blessed now. I'm giving you stuff, putting my stuff on the line. But you need it. So go to them temples, sit in them seats. They done told them. They said, Moors. The prophet said to them, it's going to be some new Moors going to come in here. It's going to sit you old Moors in the back. Y'all are part of the prophecy. All right? So now, I don't want to hold off. What's the name here? So as we were talking, I want to give you these tools. So again, when you read chapter 5, remember I said the key thing is stability. And me going on into that was read closely the verses 14 to 21, because then you'll see, like I said in my little notes here, I done drew the little tools that it's talking about. But those of you who are well studied know and see in Masonic literature that they have certain tools that represent their symbols. Like we'll say, for instance, we're dealing with all master masons here and living widows. Who's a living widow? Who's a living widow?
Woman. The woman.
You sisters.
The woman.
You sisters. You're the living widow. What I'm saying to you, so what y'all talking about, you signing this and what have you, when you sign your name, like you already see the brothers, they may put their name, comma, son of the widow. You, sisters, comma, the living widow. Apologize, thought I dropped that one. Right here. Oh. It's a sorry example, but it's supposed to be like a trowel. So those who in carpentry work, the trowel is kind of like a little thing that pokes down a little bit, and it's a square triangle. All right. And when somebody's doing cement, if you happen to catch his grace, my father, when he did the sidewall to make the he was using cement. All right. And the trowel is to lay it straight. All right. This is the symbol for a master mason. This is why I'm saying it's so important with the symbols in your Quran. You know, so y'all people in my thing will just give my Quran if I don't run away from it. All you gotta do is read the chapters. But I'm telling you, each thing it represents something. You understand what I'm saying? It's symbolic. The reason why this is the master mason's tool. You're saying, I am a master mason, and I am, with the trowel, dipping the cement of love and spreading the cement of love. You understand what I'm saying? So everything is symbolic. So this is why this is important. Chapter 5. And when you're reading from the verses 14 on down, you like I did. The symbols, they represent something. Like when you see the beehive, that symbol represents industriousness. Anybody that studies nature, because even Prophet Muhammad had said this. Study nature. Because you learn a lot. And the main thing associated with bees, that you already know they are industrious. They always working. They're building a comb, and they're just always working, and they're working as a unit. All right? So everything is symbolic. It has a symbolic, but I'm making it simple. You understand? So, y'all got my Quran. So we'll move on to the next one. The master chapter for the master degree, the third degree, is chapter 7. It's chapter 7. So I'm trusting you seeing what I'm trying to convey to you. I don't want to bore you, but I'm giving you heavy stuff. Some things may seem, it's not all dynamic and whatever, it may take a little, hard, but it'll mean heavier things. I'm sure you need these things in order to navigate. And we talked about before, because this is good, because it's also going to lead into us going into the sigils. Sigils or signs, and all of you see this now because we got this new media, the YouTube, the people making all these videos, and they're showing you this sign means this, and the worst, it pisses me off. We all Moors, and I'm pretty sure we all agree. Every time I talk about the goddamn Illuminati, they're always using our great seal. Oh man, Illuminati. I'm like, dude, I just want to punch all man. Let me tell you, it's so whack. Somebody seen one of my videos when trying to talk about I'm part of Illuminati. That's bull crap. Because if I was good, I'd be paid. Let me shut up. I'm paid. Right? I'm moving to art, house, children. Yeah. I digress. Anyway, seals and symbols do mean something, but peep this. Some of the sciences I gave you, you can, beloved. I don't know your time frame, but you talk to one of the sisters and the brothers, they will give you the power chance I gave you. This power chance to help you build your energy. If you do certain things right, you can change the energy or even invoke what you may say angels or spirits. This is where sigils come into play. I'm going to have to get my Quran back in order to finish up a little bit. Unless y'all looking at it, you can see, if y'all can get to chapter 7. Remember, again, I said chapter 7 is your master mason, Moorish mason degree. So that's your lesson there of your 3, your 5, and your 7. The masons, us brothers, or the masons that imitate and try to be me, they would say the 3 represents 3 to rule, 5 to hold, and 7 to make it perfect, temple or lodge. Yes, sir. And we use the symbols of 3, 5, and 7. It's 3 to rule, 5 to hold. Meaning to hold a meaning. And 7 to make a perfect temple or a lodge. again, things or higher truths are giving symbolic to people, because then you can have individuals that can get this knowledge, and this is said in Freemasonry a lot. And you might just say it's also in the temple, because a lot of you have seen, especially coming in and having this knowledge, and you go around people, and I'm pretty sure you won't say it publicly, but I'll say it for you. They like, man, I went to the temple and I'm living there for over 20-something years, man. It's stupid as rocks. Damn. I'm just going back over here and get what I got to get. From Todd's and Freedmen. And because why? They say this in Freemasonry. People can go all the way through. They come in the Masonic Order of Dummy and go all the way through and still come out of Dummy. And that's true. So I'm also preparing you or making you be aware. So if you come across somebody, that might be a traveling man or woman, don't get insulted. They don't know. But the sincere ones know that you're giving the signs and symbols and stuff so they can study. And if they're sincere, guess what they will do? They see one of them turtles and pheasants, and that's a ill or a bad. Hey, I want to be a friend. And they want to learn from them. That's those who are sincere. I don't know if I told this story. I don't want to tell this brother's name, so I'll make his name. I'll use my middle name. Let's say his brother Dawood Khan Bey. This brother had went to court for some traffic stuff. This is just basically the story of Moore coming across a Freemason. European Freemason that also recognized Moore. So and this particular, we'll say, Brother Dawood Khan Bey, didn't know all the jurisprudence stuff you know. And went to the court, and he had, if I remember the story, what he said, he had a good couple $1,000 worth of stuff he had to pay. But he went in, and I think he had his fez on, and he said, the magistrate practically dismissed his case to the point of just making him only pay the court fees. Dismissed all the charges and did it quickly. And so the brother was like, all right, cool. When he got out of the courtroom, he was going over to pay at the clerk thing. He said, that magistrate was a European Moor. Came off the bench out the other door, took the book off and said, hey, I seen the name Bey. I just want to say, I'm more too, man. I just want to say a piece, whatever. Or I got to go back in here. I know some of these stories that I'm telling you is because this is a time where, and this is the part that I feel bad for you, new cherubs. When you came across a Moor, you had great respect. All people respect. Freemasons, Nation of Islam, other groups, because when a Moor came up in the house, it was like E.F. Hutton. When a Moor spoke, everybody went. And it was no joke. If you was known to be a researcher and you spoke well and you talked, guess what? All of a sudden you wouldn't be just called to temple. Somebody to tap you. They want you to come and visit their Eastern Star Chapter Lodge. They want some knowledge. Yeah, that's how I respected you. That's why I tell you these stories. I told another story how our brother went to court. I'll make up another name. I'll just use my third name, Khan Bey. And he had a traffic situation. I told this before to everybody, so I'm not going to tell his brother's name. But anyway, he had a situation where he had no driver's license, something like that or whatever. And he was a traveling man. So he did, I showed y'all brothers the distress. So he did that. And it was a European magistrate. And by the time he got called up, the magistrate called him, hey, Brother Khan Bey. He came up and he said, he obviously said all that legal jargon. And he said, I'm not hearing no drunk driving cases today. Now, my brother, man, he don't drink. And he's like, because remember I told you more, how did I tell you how you stand? This is for the new ones.
Feet out.
So, you're going to say everything is symbolic, beloved.
Feet out.
Say it again, talk up. Somebody talk up.
Feet outward.
45 degrees.
Right. Everything is symbolic. So more, you always stand 45. 45 represents your 90 degrees. Because you being awake, you being aware, you're 90 degrees. With your fez and your turbans on your head, you are 90 degrees. You did not know. Nobody didn't tell you that. Anybody tell you that? Oh, y'all sleep? I'm going home. Get back home. I'm going home. You're 90 degrees. And remember, before I go a little further, remember I told you, don't be impressed if you see somebody with a third thing. I ain't wearing them signs like they usually. But if you see somebody with high degrees, what did I tell you the story with Albert Pike? Albert Pike and them, when he was structuring the Scottish Rite, they went into Kemet, Egypt, founding the pyramids. Our degree system of our order. Remember I tell you, a lot of stuff is going to be clear. We have a sacred handshake and all that passwords, how we speak. They found our Magi's works and degrees. And he found the papyrus, and the degrees went up to over 120-something degrees, about 125 degrees. And what he did was said that it was too repetitive, so he whittled it down to 33. But he also did it symbolic, claiming that the bone would get the sign 33. All right? Now, there is an order which those that'll be worthy, if you're still around me, and I will show you who may have it later. There is an order. I just told you Clifford Ezel was a what?
96.
Right. That work is rare. And I will show you, and I break that down. That rite is called the Memphis Masorine rite. All right? And when one goes through the degrees, they actually have to be a good standing 33rd in order to get to that. And the brother had to go outside the country to get that degree. It was once here. I think they may have brought it back now, but it was once here and it left because everybody thought it was just a fashionable thing. Everybody wanted to make higher degrees and stuff, kind of like what they're doing with the Moorish orders right now. Everybody making their own little thing. They done usurped your great seal. Now you got some guy called Prince something out there. He's sitting there imitating and actually usurping the great seal and his grace. Because ain't nobody supposed to be having no documents and stuff unless they're a legitimate set up Great Seal Association of Moorish Affairs. I said it. Yes, I said it. And the Sayyid Raha, Sister Rashida Bey, that is also the co-founder of the Great Seal, said, you got a problem? Check it out. You need to respect your elders. Anyway, these individuals are, like I said, they hustle. It's a hustle to them. But they're not serious. But now you're getting this type of information, and I'm praying, and I'm trusting when you do finally, those who finally finish the process, and you're wearing your fez or your turban, whatever, and you operate, you have your power, and you shut these individuals down, and we come together like we're supposed to. All right. So anyway, get back to the brother. The brother was standing in the magistrate and said, hey, why are you standing? Well, I'll tell you how the more stand. 5. That's your compass and square. The square, that is your symbol. I think I got something to make it a little more simple. That is your symbol. That is used to measure the earth, your square, your ruler. This is a 90 degree. Your compass law is the symbol. If anybody does nautical work, they know when you're using this, you're charting the stars. It's a cosmos. All right? So your compass is square. You're standing on the 45. Your heart is your compass. This is why you must be an upright, moral brother or sister more. And whenever you speak, dealing law or directly serious matters, you you stand, because you're actually standing in what you know the 5 principles Brother Prophet gave you, which is what? Let's say it in unison for those out there. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. Now I ask you, these individuals who are out here doing negative acts, are they actually working on those 5 principles? No. And I didn't put that in your mind. I just let you use it. And again, a lot of y'all could probably tell me some of these individuals, because I keep to myself. Me coming out, I'm making rare appearances and teaching. Other than that, I'll just stick with my golden cipher. A few students I've been teaching the last 12 some years. I fell back after 2002. So, the brother was talking, and like I said, he did his distress symbol. I'll do that later, it's on another video. And so the magistrate recognized it, and he said, all right, he said, I'm not dealing with any drunk driving cases today. I was like, I'm not dealing with any drunk driving cases today. He had to give me Tyler and he's like, Case Smith. So I'm trying to tell you these stories, these little vignettes, and I'm trusting it's hitting home, and it's a shame that I'm trying to get you to glean, but it was a time you were so well respected. You could make that person. So long as you weren't coming up in there talking about you George and Easy, I'm more severe than I vibe, but what you talking about? What? Man, on tape. There's different side. Oh, yo, G, go ahead and take that stuff back there, Mr. Cave, man. Mr. Cave, man. I told y'all the story about the one brother who dissed my dad. Oh, man. He ain't listened to my father. Kept my dad up all night. He was riding when we used to have our national tags on our car. Guy out there acting a fool. I ain't gonna put his name out, but y'all need to know these stories because it affected y'all. Remember, your win is my win. Your loss is my loss. Car full of ignorance. Talking about, I'm more sovereign, y'all. Watch this. You see that popo over there? Watch this. Purposely sped by him. Of course, what popo do? Pull him over. Watch this. Probably was most likely doing that too. Yeah, right, man. Put that in there. Alright, so I'm sorry, man. Here, and the officer looked and said, well, for one, this thing looks like it's registered to John Smith. Well, I'm such and such Brother Bey. I'll just use my name again. I'm now John Bey. Where are the tags for these cars, for this car? And I started really worrying. In the trunk, brother didn't even listen and do the Moorish protocol. Because I was keep telling these Moors, and this is for the other brothers and beloveds who were out, who were being the true Moors. I love you, Canaan Moors. Y'all are going to say that. We can't be acting all niggerish. You're not a nigger. Stop it. You are a people. And if you're working that level, you don't see Hillary Clinton and all that when she was Secretary of State walking around looking like with her little fanny pack. No, she was dressed as a Secretary of State with an entourage and carrying a beacon. You feel what I'm saying? When I was young, when I seen elder pictures, it was one brother called himself Prince something, Prince Randy something. And every time I seen him in pictures, he had his turban on and his suit on and his briefcase. He was always about ready to do business. He was taken serious. So if you're saying you are the wazir of such and such, such and such, the office I used to hold was Qazi. Qazi is equivalent to your Moorish magistrate or your judge. So if you're saying you're that and you're an official, why are you walking around, and then you're like, let me go ahead and come out? No, you're supposed to be dressed, have an official meeting, like everybody else that have other interest groups, and sit with the mayor and sit with and saying, look, and take that particular time and do your PR work. We're Moorish Americans, this is how we operate. Me and my father used to do that. And like I said, it was a time you had respect. But let me finish this story because you need to know this, because it affected y'all. This is over 20-something years ago. This is the case that my daddy had wouldn't go back to courts and support nobody no more. Mine happened soon after. So anyway, the officer say, all right, we'll get out the car and go in that trunk and put them tags back on the car. Of course, you know he got punked. Now boys probably say, ooh, you supposed to be most American too. Look at you. Go fight your court now. Now you guys go all in the back. He didn't do the protocol, because when you did that, you were supposed to take your stuff, return your state tax, say, this is mine, this is Moore's paperwork, this is my number, yada yada. And we don't yada yada. We adhere to certain things, but certain things doesn't apply to you, but nonetheless, you do stuff legally. Moore's is supposed to do stuff legally. You understand what I'm saying? He didn't do that. Wow. So once he made him put the tags on, and he made me back in the car, now you issue the ticket, now you got to take it behind the court. Now, we used to have round table. Round table used to be on Sunday nights. And it would start about a good 7 or so, and it was so heavy, we would be to 12. And in the early 90s, we was having more than round table. We not only met at my dad's house in Camden, but on Friday nights, here's another elder. And she had us in her house in Germantown, Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania. The living widow at Takia Bey. She had her own radio station in Philly, WPEB 88.1 FM. And she used to teach the Moorish history, and so that's how we found her back in 90. And by the end of 91, she literally had us in her house. She opened her house to let her, we was damn near almost deep as y'all. Sitting in her living room, and we had notes, and she just sit in her rocking chair and just give us lessons. And that was when we met to say Rock, my sister Rashida Bey, that was her best friend. So now, he comes, and this is the thing that a lot of people now, even saying out there who view the videos, they get pissed off when they get individuals that come in, and y'all could be covering, like right now, we're at a certain level, and individuals come in with their selfish interest and only sit for a little bit, and this thing you know, because y'all see how patient and kind my father is, and this is where it starts. I'm a Tarian. I don't talk to hear myself speak. I give you what you need, and don't let me repeat. I don't like to repeat. Father has no time, I have no problem repeating. So then they'll sit up there and touch me going into something. Y'all moving forward, and all of a sudden they say, hey, and what about this and that? And then everybody goes, oh, God, we covered that. And what did my father would do? He'll then take the class damn near right back to the beginning, because he's so passionate and he's so beautiful with it, but it knocks everybody else out. And so other people start realizing this is what happened in class. So anyway, that's kind of what this brother did. And so now everybody on the left, now he's talking, is going past 3 to 4 in the morning, almost sunrise, trying to cram what to do in the court. So now it's court day. Go to court. You remember the story. Go to court. It's the last time that His Grace went to court. He told him what to do. All more stand a certain way. You speak a certain way. You know certain things you address, yada yada. So His Grace is right behind him. Jurisdiction. This is the rear view. Rear jurisdiction. Now this is the Amir he's doing this to. My dad's sitting in the chair. And the magistrate just steady going on, and this and yada 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 yada. And then finally, he was realizing this something. The dude was hitting the fan. And Daddy already told him, establish jurisdiction, he didn't do it. And finally he started saying, Your Honor, you recognize nationality and jurisdiction. And the magistrate said this. Because he was saying something to the effect of, I'm free, and I'm no longer that appellation or that enslaved person, this and that, because you brought your jurisdiction, but I'm free. And the magistrate said, well, you know what? In so many words, the free part of you, yes, you can leave the court, go everywhere you want to go. But the slave part of you, we go in jail. Bailiffs, and they came and picked you up, one on each arm, and you look like this. I might even do it, but I I was doing film work and I was doing my hip hop stuff, and I also do comedy. I think I might reenact that in one of my comedy skits. Y'all don't really see it, but from what I've told you guys, somebody big guy, they lift your imagine getting lifted up, and then all his grace can do is this. He said, that's it. I ain't never go to court. That was back at night. They never went to court no more to support your body. People was taking this stuff, they just being ignorant. And that case, along with others, affected you more.
Yep.
Just like I told y'all, part of the process of when you correct your name, I told you what I did when I was 17. That was a very basic first step when you start correcting your name. Because remember, you didn't get in this overnight. You're not going to get out overnight. The first thing you need to always keep established in your mind is this. You want them to first recognize who you are. And you already know last name denotes nationality. Once you get that, and the other stuff follows. So the key thing is you want to let them know that John Smith died or that James Smith died. That's not you. I'm in law. This is the other part of the Emancipation Proclamation. Make sure you remember that little key thing when you're conveying it. So then you already know in that other life you had everything what makes a regular citizen, a bank account, car, and all that, right? So it was a time that Moors even corrected their name on driver's license. You had that. Let me tell you the story. Some of you who didn't hear, but I'm going to repeat it so you can hear what made it more tougher for you. There was this black imp that came through Round Table, and went on and splintered off and made her own movement. Valerie Harvey stole the seal from my father and never returned it. When I tried to go get it as my job as the Qazi, it blocked me. So they got to the point they was putting out a lot of fake information and was charging the students, her so-called students, some amount of money just to come in the door to see, and wasn't really giving the people anything. Because for one, the person didn't even stay around Round Table barely a year. I met the person in 96. Before I know it, by 97, they went on and started their own little thing. So, got to the point, it was the false legal information she was giving people was hemming these people up. Now these people were mixed in among you Moors. See, the backstory was Social Security and them knew who my father was. And us Moors, when you corrected your name, again, we telling you, you are cherubs. You're angels. You don't get caught in no deceit, in no UCC doing the you thing, because these ignorants was getting new cars off the lots with that CMO thing. And we were telling them to leave it alone. And then weeks later or months later, they were coming to me and father to trying to get them out so they could keep the cars. Like, look, we don't get in that skin. Leave that stuff alone. Only you use uniform commercial code just to get them back to the law. Leave that alone. So, hem the people up so bad. This is what she told her followers, and this is why I ain't no hate for her. Matter of fact, I said I'm gonna give her a pound. Like, say don't hate play the game. I give it to you, girl. You obviously said she ain't want to be broke like Taj and Hannibal, because we ain't really charging by it. It wasn't just to cover cost of things, and we gave you what we knew. We didn't make stuff up. You understand what I'm saying? Hem these people up so bad, finally told them, well, you know what? Go back to Social Security and tell them you want your slave name back. And they went back in droves, and Social Security said, that's it. Shut it down. We don't want no, and it was a domino effect, and they went to the motor vehicles and to all the other entities. So when you see Valerie Harvey, you thank her. Just like you thank, I keep telling you, go and thank Dwight York. Well, he's incarcerated, but you thank him. So that's why I'm telling you, prior to that, when they see them more with a fez on their head, it meant a lot. You were well respected. I tell the little vignette how this one sister was releasing the star. Because you do have people that be tripping, just like some in the temple. The story was this one woman seen a Moor with a feather on his head. She was an Eastern Star. He was in the street. You Moors, got your feathers on, somebody swing your head around real quick so everybody can see. There you go. She seen that and was like, take that out your head. Moor was like looking at her. Which, if I wasn't conscious, I put my religious silence. Hey, get out of here, my sister. Bless you. So she took it further. She went down the street and happened to go and find a so-called Masonic brother. Oh. And he happened to be a worshipful master, talking about, they got to take that off his head. They got to take it off his head. He was like, looked around the corner, seen that fed, and seen that. Do it for me real quick, y'all. Seen that tassel swinging 360 degrees. He said, oh, sister, I can't make him take it off his head. I can't make him. Because that tassel says it all. You are 360 degrees. A Freemason and Eastern Star, they have to pin theirs down. Left. They can't move. Remember I told you everything symbolically has a meaning to it? So, so anyway, the sister did that, and it caused a ripple effect with all you wars. And this is why and that happened in the early 2000s. Oh, man. So it was not too long ago. And that was the same time York did his thing. Because I was one of the ones 20 years ago, I was pissed, and I was the only one vocal. And I said, yo, because dude was grabbing me and my father's work. A lot of people didn't notice, and I usually carry the book with me to show as proof. When he wrote the book on Noble Dry League, Dwight York, you know him as Dr. Malachi York, he was teaching his people they were Nubians. I'm going in because right now, Moors were supposed to get the Nation of Islam, and us, we were supposed to come together with one. Same thing, them brothers and them, they knew where this knowledge came from. And them brothers knew when their leader went in, they were supposed to make their way back to the source. So those individuals that you've seen talking about they selling the freedom packet, I just told you what that was. That was individuals, it's a hustle. Found out one brother, I don't want to mention his name, he's a younger one so y'all know. He became a millionaire off of this. I'm talking about somebody new, you pull up on YouTube. I'll say this. He got caught in a scandal about 2 summers ago with a car that they call a prowler, and it was a transsexual. He was dancing. He had next to the car music, and he had to kind of explain himself. And he supposed to have a couple wives. I'll leave that at that. So, them individuals could have made their way back to the Moorish movement. And like I said, back in 96 or so, I'm like, yo, this cat started printing up the Holy Circle 7 Quran, and the Prophet did everything spiritual. Just put together spiritual. And those of you who had this, if you notice, you look in between the pages, the way the Prophet's hand is, it was supposed to be, they said, it was supposed to be in a way, it's supposed to kind of be over his mouth. They kind of did this wrong, but the original ones. So everything is done symbolically. This brother sat there and put his crusty behind in the Circle 7. I was hot. I said, well, damn, the 2 other guys that claimed to be Jirali wasn't that blasphemous. And that was John Gibbons Ill and Timothy Dingle Ill. John Gibbons Ill claimed to be the second of the reincarnated. And Dingle Ill claimed to be the third. And I said, they didn't even do that blasphemous and put themselves in this holy scripture. So in the book, he wrote Who Was Noble Dry League. He wrote it in 80, and he reprinted it in 88, and I got it, and I had at that time in 88, and I got it from my father. But on page 25, at that time, he was bragging, he was Sudanese. And he was calling his people Nubians. When you Moors, you saying your race, you're Asiatic. And he said on page 25, the Moors had died off, so you're not Moors, so follow me. But what y'all don't know, we were putting this literature out. We were self-publishing. And Father started venturing down south. That's where he is at right now. He's doing another lecture. Trust, he don't ever go anywhere. There ain't no vacation. He's actually speaking. So whenever we go to it, we speak. So we had a lot of literature out, and dude was grabbing it, and come to find out his other truth came out. He had a whole room full of sisters that was his writers. That's why he has so many books. And the truth came out. Matter of fact, Six Dynasty put it on YouTube. They got a whole channel. They broke that all down. And they were members. They telling you. They know the sisters. They breaking it down. So they was taking our work. And I was telling you, I said, he was taking me and my father's work from the Moorish Order Round Table. And the story that y'all won't hear, back in 2000, one day, this is when we had Round Table at Brother Alim's house, God rest his soul. And one day I came before a round table, before class started. And Daddy's in the back, Alim's in the back. They're in the kitchen. And they're cooking. But like I said, they kind of doing what Dr. Nadia is keeping the, I love you so much. She's keeping old customs. She's giving you love when she's cooking food or something. Just making it home. So anyway, when I'm walking in, because it was before meeting, all of a sudden I seen this box. Matter of fact, it was as big as the box we had up there earlier. And I'm looking in it, and I'm looking at this all York's work. And I distinctly remember there was one book that was all white leather bound, with gold lettering on it, and it was full of his books. So I'm like, oh, all right. And Daddy got off the phone and he walks. And I said, hey, Daddy, hey. I said, Dad, what do you got all these Nubian stuff books? And he said, oh, that was York. York sent him about over $200 worth of his own books as a gift to try to woo Daddy and eventually me too to go down when he went down to Georgia. Now, this was the conversation. Daddy said, oh, I just got off the phone. That's who he was getting on the phone with. Father was putting out the lessons. See, these things right here, these are stuff that y'all will get. This is the other part of the round table, but this is some Magi stuff. But we was putting lessons out. And Father, we'll say Father had like a list of 1 to 30 books he was putting out, but he was purposely putting them out of order. So he may put out lesson 1, 2, 3, skip 9, and then skip 14. He did it purposely, and York fell for it. Hear how he did. The brother was printing up stuff. He was claiming it was his work, starting to use legal stuff. And Father was writing the books in a way whereas when it ended, there were certain things you needed to know. You would get it, you come to the round table, and he let it sit for a while. And then people was grabbing and stuff and making their own movement. That's what happened to Father when he went up to New York in the early 2000s when I ran into Africa and Bada and them, and they were selling Daddy's books and stuff, our books bootleg. And what happened, they had about, he said, at least well over 25 different Moorish little groups, and their core work was the Moorish Order Roundtable books and stuff that we had. And when Bam finally got his hands on Dad, he had met me first, and he finally got Daddy to come up there. He said that very week, all those groups, I want to say that Daddy said 100, but I'll stop at 25 different groups. He said that week, all the groups collapsed. He said when they set up the place that they had Father, it was standing room only. Because now the people finally got the author of the books when they found out the work that they were using. And they were going as high as $3,000 for charging people the so-called national honors. Wow. I was shocked. Let me tell you, when I fell back in 2002, because Alim had died. And we heard that there was an individual that was charging, that was pretending to be my father. This is a little bit before your social media, and was charging people up to $1,000. I was shocked then. But when I found out, father said, this took place, going back to the first part I'm telling you, back in 2005 or so. So this is why father was going up to New York a lot. Because a lot of people was working off our work, and you had a lot of people that were charging. So now the person I had said that got a millionaire, younger brother, and if he was sincere, he wouldn't have been charging these people. That's why he caught up in a legal situation already. And you notice he didn't make his way to the Moorish temple, neither trying to unify. So like I tell you, it's a hustle to them. And recognize it. But y'all part of the movement that's going to correct this. So yeah, a lot of individuals were taking this work and pretending it was there, and they fell for the trap. That's with any group. That's another thing too that you'll find out. Everybody wants to be a goddamn Indian chief, and nobody wants to be Indian. And any person that's been in the military, any organization will tell you, in order to one day be a great general, you have to be a great follower. Follow orders, recognize protocol. So I tell you these backstories because you need to know this. People got wealthy off of your virtue. This is why all the time I use the example. Of the Freedmen's Bureau. When I tell y'all the example, this did take place in history, where there were Moors that found themselves to the Freedmen's Bureau, and some of them got 40 acres in the mule, and then there were other people that didn't know. So they appointed themselves to visit all the different slave camps or plantations to read the Emancipation Proclamation to the brothers and sisters. You're free, and we will show you. And I use the example vignette of saying, me, my father, then it's Valor, then it's Hannibal Bey, and then it's Dwight York, and we all go. And then me and father say, hey, you know what? We got our 40 acres, we got our $100, we got our Bay names, and let's go secure our land and stuff. But our brothers and sisters need to know. So what we do, we're going to appoint ourselves, and we're going to travel throughout the South and inform the other brothers and sisters. The guy that did the research, his name Gaines, actually proved that there was someone else that did that. So, meanwhile, the other three that I told you, Nakeem, Valor, Harvey, and Dwight, they was like, that's a good idea. But this is what we're going to do. Matter of fact, a brother told me that was the saying that Dwight always would say. He said, he always saying, this was a brother that was really close to him. They said, well, instead of we showing them, why don't we tell them this? We'll take it if you're in the Bureau, so you can get what's yours, but you give us 20 acres out of your 40. And you give us $50 out of your 100. So me giving you that vignette and example, that's the way you need to look at these suckers that are charging you with these monies that I'm telling you that are built. The only thing you should be paying for is just to cover the cost. This is yours. Because the other story you all know, I tell you that Clifford Ezel and other Moors were working towards sitting down with Europeans was ready to give you your land and money. That's what made me go in 20 years ago into Freemasonry. The guy named Fred Kleineck, who was the head of 33rds, had said, we see what you Moors are doing. We're ready to come to the table with you and start giving you land and money. And when I tell Moors that, they say, well, wow. I'm like, don't get impressed with that. What I'm trying to tell you is myself, my father, Sage Hannibal Bey. That's Lou Atlantis. Look him up too. He's a good researcher from New York. He was one of the, I don't want to say wise ears, but he's one of the original members of Great Seal up in New York. And Sister Rashida Bey, others who did work. That meant we were doing something right. You understand what I'm saying? For them to say, hey, we're ready to give you your land and money. Because like I tell you, that's the other part of the Emancipation Proclamation. That still has to be carried out.
Tell it.
Lincoln had put out $5 million. He was sitting in the First National Bank of Chicago. That's a lot of money back then. That was the kitty that was supposed to pay you. Of course, you all know, because you Moors, you hear, that was the reason why they bumped him the hell off. Meanwhile, they used that money to keep funding and killing the other Moors. This is when you got the history going back to 1812 with Tecumseh. We knew him as Tecumseh Bey. Back in 1812 and all, he was the last one that was trying to keep your Moorish flag. But they went westward and used that money to make the city. You know when you go somewhere, you need money to get lumber and all that, what have you. So when you see them West Stories and them people going out west, they're using the funds for the money that was supposed to be yours. That's why the original debt was really, that the United States had, was really to the Moors, to you. All right. I know I was supposed to go into the other stuff, but let me go into the sigils since I got them up here. I was supposed to have something for a candle, but we'll use this as a candle.
I put candles up there.
Where?
Right there.
Well, I need a bigger one.
Oh, I don't have it.
But anyway, we'll do this. As y'all see, these are the sigils, because I know I'm supposed to have done it before. Now, if you can, I'm going to say this, so some of you new ones who are here, I gave you power chants. Power chants help increase your spiritual energy.
Yeah.
All right? So if you can't get with some of these other Moors, because my time is short, so if you can, you need that. And that's a ritual you do. Some of you are Reiki masters, some of you artists or whatever, some of you are writers. It helps you align your energy. Sound does affect everything. This is what it's your thought. All right? Part of the other rituals that individuals will do, we use candles, and then there's sigils that will be written. I don't have a candle, so we're going to just pretend this is a candle. Well, let me touch on these real quick. This is a Lemurian sigil, or a Magi sigil, or rune, and this is called the shield. Now, when you have certain sigils, some are written a certain way that could be upright, and it means whatever it's supposed to be used for. Like this is a shield, and upright, it powers of defense. So it's called the shield. So, as you see this structure here, if y'all can pull in the camera closer so others out there can see, if you all need to come up and get it, you need to draw this exactly. What I normally would do is I would have like the regular candles we all see. So I said, just imagine this one of the longer ones with the glass cylinder. I usually use my incense stick, and I would etch the sigil on it. But before you do, there's a ritual that you do to bless your candle. All right? And I think I mentioned it to you before. I was a little bit off here. I'll do this. You have to have an oil. Remember I tell you, you can use frankincense and oil, but now since we frankincense and oil, now that we're into this, I'm going to give you the sacred oil of our order. It's actually patchouli.
Say again.
That's what I wear.
Patchouli. All right.
That's what I wear.
All right. So when you have your candle, I think I had told you Mistra Daga Elchi Uf. His third, I've told y'all that. So you take the oil, start from the half part, and stroke down, turn, stroke down, turn, stroke down, and you're saying Mistra Daga Elchi Uf. His third, I'm saying it slower again, Mistra Daga Elchi Uf. His third. Once you do it downward, then you want to go from the middle and go upward. You understand what I'm saying? That's how you bless it. Sometimes I'll take a little bit of the oil and do the top. Once you do that, then, like I said, I would use my incense stick. And if I need to do a ritual to defend myself, are you all familiar with the basic colors? White is for purity.
I got colors over here.
Yeah. I'm going to do this for the sake of the class real quick. Yeah. I don't have a book out there flipping with it, do I? It should be the master book. Nope. I'm going to do this real quick. You all are familiar with the 7 days of the week? That the colors?
Yes, you did give it to me.
All right. I'll say it again. You don't have it. All right. Sunday, that's the color gold or yellow. And the angel that rules that day is Magi. Monday, the color is white. The angel that day rules is Gabriel. Tuesday is red. The angel that rules that day is Zemiel. Wednesday is the color purple. Or it could be mixed colors. The angel that rules that day is Raphael. Thursday, color is blue. The angel that rules that day is Sachiel. Sachiel. Notice the last 2 days I said also, I also dropped this on you. I mentioned these two guys earlier. Wednesday is Woden's Day. That's the original way of saying Odin. And Thursday is Thor's Day, the original day of Thor, or Tehuti. Friday is today. What is the color this day? One of the beautiful sisters in the back is wearing that color. Green. Right. And that is Nil. But here's another thing. Because you are Muslims, and you're carrying on an old custom of us Hittians, but again, like I said, I prefer the title Magi, the term Magi, because, people are not really used to that now. But anyway, Dwali had gave you that custom, and the Nation of Islam still practices this custom on this day. Friday, beloved, beautiful prophet, I love you so much, Prophet Dwali. He told you, Muslims around the world say this is a holy day, because this was the day that divine man was formed in flesh. And it's the day that the man, holy man, first man, departed in flesh. So in honor of that, you wear something white. All right? And Saturday, which is your Sabbath, that color is indigo or black. And that angel is Cassiel, Cassiel. So I had to give you that. So that's your basic colors if you're going to use for your candles. But also, don't limit yourself to that. This is why when you see people depicting you Moors in ancient history, why you were so colorful. Because you wore the different colors, especially the color of the day, to honor that divine spirit that you call angels, or later on called gods. So the beloved sister in the back that is wearing her green is giving her honor to, obviously it might be her matron saint, for what I know, Nil. She's wearing green. And so, remember I tell you, you do everything spiritual. Talk to you, I was supposed to call you. So remember I tell you, you do everything spiritual. So when you out in the world, you already planned. Some of you have already got the lessons I gave you, so you know before you even walk out the door, everything is planned. So you already planned what you're going to wear. So when you see Sister Atakia Bey, the living widow, and you get to see her pictures, you can practically tell what day it was the day she had a picture. She had her turban and that color on. We used to make her laugh, and she was like, yeah, all right, I got sharp eyes. Because she never got to the part to teach us the telekinesis, because she wanted to kind of teach us something, So I trust I'll be able to, because I have literature stuff on that, and that's the point where I'm at. So like I said, y'all got a whole lot coming your way from me. Now we got the means to do it. We just got to keep the flow, the defiance coming in. She just keep the ink and stuff. And y'all going to have a lot of stuff. You're going to have lots. So when time goes on, you got this. Those of you, if you depart and go somewhere else, you have the whole curriculum stuff. You can be able to teach others. Because that's what Dr. was saying, the kind of charter out stuff. So, but anyway, so when you walk out the door, like I said, you're wearing certain colors to what? Invoke the divine spirit to always be with you. Remember, I also told you symbolically, and this is beloved brother and I demonstrated how you greet each other. You all remember when you greet each other?
Yes.
Anybody want to speak up?
Yes.
You don't know? All right. Let's do our work again. I guess we're going to have to talk in a way. If you do a Jerry's List thing when we talk about it. And this is good because this is culture. This is your Moorish culture, and it is tying into this. But I also, and some of you have already seen it, but you also do recognize the importance of what I keep saying when I'm repeating, and it ties in, you know, so you know you're going to see this again. But guess what? This is kind of what they do in Lodge. So you're actually also having your adult Lodge meeting. I'm giving you your stuff. So when you see Moore speaking, and remember I said earlier that be comfortable in speaking Assalamu alaikum when you're greeting each other. Wa alaikum assalam. That's your custom. So when Moors greet each other, you go, hey, salam, salam, salam. Now, it's spiritual. We turn this way so you can understand. The elders told us, and us Magi know, when you're born, you all have two angels that were assigned to you. Right. The only time they're not, and they're going to change up, is like the work that I give you, and you wind up. See, I'm a solitary practitioner. But y'all helping me because now I'm being around others. And this is how all of our spiritual power will get stronger. But nonetheless, there's a ritual that is called the dark threshold. It's where you do a ritual and you want to know more higher science and you wind up calling new angels. And what will happen, and I went through it, and I didn't really have nobody to teach me. And it's the worst feeling in the world, unless you're blessed to have a teacher and walk you when you go there. Because what happens, those two angels will walk away from you, and it will feel like your world caved in. And for a couple months, you feel empty, very almost suicidal. But what happened is they step away because now you're about to get two higher angels to replace, to be with you, to help you, guide you to your next higher consciousness. So now I'm saying all that to say this. You grip, it's a way of more grip, and the masonry work, you'll see it means all symbolic, but it's a I don't want to say rip off, but it's imitating you. But when we greet him, he has his seraphim, and on this side he has his cherubim. So when you're saying Assalamu alaikum, or you may say Ahillam, something fell off, somebody's in there. Maybe I'm pissed off at angel, it fell off the top. I did see it from the corner of my eye, it fell off the way top. So, actually, when you're saying Salaam alaikum, you're on that right side, you're speaking to the seraphim. Are you familiar with the hierarchy of seraphim and cherubim? The seraphim is the higher order angels, and the cherubim is the lower angels. So, when we're speaking, we're saying Assalamu alaikum to that person's higher angel, the seraphim. And then we're saying Assalamu alaikum to their cherubim.
Okay.
And then when you're coming back the third time, you're saying Assalamu alaikum to him or her, and he's you. We're both fallen angels. See what I'm saying? That's your custom. Get used to it. Be that way. So now when you're seeing your brothers in the East, don't get too like, hey, you're like Eddie Murphy, like, hey, you know, say, oh, like a brother. They just trying to, they kept it to a level, but they would do it twice, but they at least held on to your science. But that's part of your brotherhood, if you will. You know what I mean? That's why they said, you're learning your brotherhood, brotherly love and sister reflection. And we have to bring that back. But that's your custom. So I thank you so much again for it. Even though you see how we repeat it, but it does have meaning, and it needs to be done. And notice the beautiful thing about it? These beautiful little cherubs. Don't shut that baby up. Don't shut him up. Let him speak. That beautiful little thing. They're getting this knowledge, and they're absorbing it. Just because he's saying it, guess what he's doing, beloved sister? Hey, oh yeah. Yes, I want to ask you that. Does the baby do that sometimes? It seems like you're talking? All right. just the baby is absorbing this at the same time. Don't even sweat. But it's beautiful that you're bringing the babies with this, because guess what? By the time they are this cherub's age, I know you're in your early 20s or so, you're young babies. All right, I'm an old head, but I got glasses. Mr. Magoo, yeah. But still, you're young babies. I'm saying they're going to be very, very heavy. By the time they get my age, they're going to be doing stuff like the X-Men. Be like, you know, and you be like, damn, you know, they piss me off. They keep doing this stuff with the witchcraft stuff, and that's the thing that always pisses me off. Y'all the original damn people. Why are you letting them do this to you? They getting all this stuff, but no problem. Brother Priest here. You know, I come Hannibal, but you know, those are close to becoming priests. I'm giving you the science and stuff so you can do that. So just because you're getting in class is cool. You get the theory and stuff, but you want to go home and you're going to use the practicality. You're going to exercise and using it. And before you know it, you will be doing some stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Because again, I can sit here and tell you more stuff like, you know, there's supposed to be a test. I'm only a patriarch. I mean, I'm like a couple degrees into the grand priesthood. But to be of the highest priesthood, to be a caliph, one of the daggone tests would be, we have a piece of paper under a big rock, underwater. And through our mind concentration power, we have to set that paper on fire. Yeah, you got it, right? You see what I'm saying? But this was stuff that you had to do. Part of the other test was, this is when I knew I was home. And Drew Ali was a part of this order. Part of the test was how we get out the pyramid. I was like, my God. I said, that's what we heard of the story of Drew Ali? And they keep saying the story. Yes, and Drew Ali got off the ship and he went to Egypt and he heard his calling and he went to the brother of the one of the last of the high priests. And you're like, well, one never told you, all right, high priest of what? But they recognized who he was, and what do they do? But they tell you the story that, oh, he tricked him and put Drali in the pyramid, locked him in, and Drali was in there. He had to figure out how to get out. But that was one of the part of the test that I was like, oh my gosh, I had tears in my eyes. I said, I'm home. But I've given some of you already. Some of you I know personally, and I send texts. I apologize, I hadn't given just other people I hit, but I had gave you stuff. You're going to get the hard copy. One of it is the science of Nova. Nova is releasing your spirit in the ritual. Matter of fact, it's coming up. It started on my birthday, which y'all call Earth Day. But peep this. You familiar with Walpurgis or the 9 Nights? Guess who that's associated with? Woden or Odin. That's the night that they begin this ritual on the night of my birthday, the 22nd, and it doesn't end till May 1st. What did I tell you all the key days? Didn't I tell you all the key days that are very highly ritual? So May 1st would be the height of spring. And that's the day that you would then have Nova. This is your ancient Moorish science or spiritual ritual that you would do to augment your spiritual power. And you would do these rituals on the power days, the days that the seasons change. But in between the seasons, before they change, there's the apex. And the apex of spring is May 1st. And that's coming up. And that's when the 9 nights end on that day. And it's a ritual where they talk about Odin hung himself on the tree, he died, and he gave up his eye, all this other stuff. That was supposed to be these ritual nights. So that's what you're living through right now, and other people celebrate. Remember I told you God's energy is what? Here's the symbol of Peru. You can zoom in. Everybody get this. Remember I tell you what Peru, I'm giving it to you real quick. Peru is the third, if you will, energy. If you already know about the positive energy, this is the top, and then the negative energy. But what was left out, which is the secret, is there is an energy that is so powerful, which is called Peru, that is the extreme point between the positive and negative energy that binds the two together. This is what makes and if you put this symbol in the 3D, they would call Maracala. All it is like two pyramids fused into one. So the power chance that I gave you and some of these rituals are just tools of you recognizing your godhood. And you're using these tools of the symbols and the candles and whatever. And certain, all you're doing is to bring it out within you. So then you can get to the point, this is where witches and all get caught up with. They get caught in the tools. As opposed to your ancestors that recognize, they do the rituals and what have you, and they recognize, I am the might. I am the power. They don't need to do no ritual. They just say, so blessed be, or so mote it be, or they just think it into existence. This is the level that you want to be. This is where a lot of the witches and the wizards and all that, they get caught up and they need amulets and what have you. But being a Magi, we recognize those are tools, but you want to get to the point you no longer need it. I used to make a joke back in the early 90s where this one brother was complaining because he did something wrong. He went to a bank, and this one brother wanted to usurp my father and wanted to be the sultan and was trying to usurp my dad. And so he tried to make himself seem like he knew everything. So this one brother rode all the way from Philly, went to Camden, and said, all right, brother, I'll use my name so I'm not putting nobody out there. All right, brother Darul Khan. You said we got to do all these rituals and stuff. I want my money. What am I supposed to do? Go in the middle of the daggone bank and draw a circle and then do all this and what have you, and I want my money. So my point of me saying this, he was saying, which he recognized that in an invert way that, not all the time people will be able to do this. This is why I'm giving you certain keys with the Black Ops thing and what have you. So you have to do that rituals. And again, and this will happen. You will see. You work the stuff that I gave you already. There's more I'm going to give you. But as time goes on, you become so powerful, you won't need that. Because there will be times you may need to use something or do something. Like here's a story you may not have heard. Only those who are in the temple, you may have heard this story. There was one brother that was doing something negative. And I forgot what it was. But I think he was talking mess about Prophet Juali or what have you. And some of the Moors didn't like it. And what the prophet had did, because the prophet knew that ability how to cloud the minds. Those of you who are familiar that I talked about clouding the minds, fogging vision. Yeah. And this brother was in another town. It's been so long since I told this story. But it was told by elder Moors. And anyway, he was popping crack about the prophet and this and that, what happened. Other Moors wasn't feeling it. And they were going to tighten you up for real. The prophet heard. He got word about it. And what he did his ritual. And that particular brother was popping some message, closing up the temple. And these brothers knew he was supposed to be there and close the temple. So they was ready to bang him out. Brothers closing the temple and everything. The next thing you know, he's walking away. And then the brothers, they looking for him. God walked right by him. What the prophet had did, clouded one of the brothers' minds and made him seem like an old man to them. And they walked by him, or he walked by them. It's been a long while since I told the story, but this is one of the stories that was told in the temple what the prophet had did. And then the prophet wound up getting to that brother later on and let him know, I saved your life. The reason why them cats walked by you is because I made you seem like an old man, so they walked by you. They was coming there to kill you. So these stories that I used to hear, I was like, wow, now I'm so thankful I at least have the tools. And I'm thankful that I have it to share with you, brothers and sisters, and we can get to that level. It's not difficult. It's just a matter of, it's that old saying, you get in what you put in, you get out of it what you put in. You know what I mean? And some of the stuff that I've given y'all so far, I'm pretty sure, you've seen some things that work. But like I said, all of you are at different levels. So I may give y'all some stuff that's taken me years to try to get to. You might just get it like that because you have a different karmic level. Your consciousness is different and you're more cleaner. You might have to kick off less dross than I have. You understand? So, anyway, I gave you those colors, sister, so you can have those candles you at least know the basics. Now, gold and yellow is usually for cheerfulness. All right. White, of course, you know, purity. Red is used for love and passion. Purple is used for mysterious energies, or also can be used for healing. Blue is for tranquility, serenity. And of course, green is for prosperity. And now indigo, and this is why I explained, so you don't get all scared like everybody else told you, and I explained it before in class. When you use a black candle, use it on Saturdays, and you basically do this ritual, whereas you are dispelling the negative energy. We all accumulate negative energy. All right, we all accumulate. So it's, you know, it's not you feel bad. You know, we all do that. You just have to be cognizant of your energy. Now, we'll say this is a candle, and this is a particular Saturday, and this is basically what you want to say. You're at your altar, and you want to place your hands in a pyramid, and you're going to say over the black candle, black, black, black. Send all negativity back. Black, black, black. Send all negativity back. And you want to keep repeating, all right? And it's basically going to be, you know, black, black, black. Send all negativity back. Black, black, black. Send all negativity back. And this is you focusing on the candle light while you're over it. Now, you can also, of course, it's good to light incense. The reason why you light incense, and this is the simple reason, all it does is heighten the vibration in the room. And certain scents do draw spirits that help bring spirits to you, or energy. You saying spirit, but basically divine energy. I will give you some things, but not a lot of stuff on the left-hand page. Just to defend yourself. That's why I gave y'all this. This shield, make sure you get it the way you have it. If you can zoom in. This is to defend yourself from anybody's negativity. Now, this can be reversed. So it's just a matter of you flipping it upside down. Whether you put this on a parchment or put it on your candle. And this, having the shield reversed, this will give you your enemy depths of defeat. All right. This one right here, I'm going to like one of the other ones, because y'all heard me for years say Peru. Good, because I definitely wanted them to see. Peru. Remember I said, oh yes, the shield. Make sure you get the exact structure of it, and the shield sigil is for powers of defense. Defending of any negative energies is coming at you. And if you needed to reverse it, if you put it on somebody, what have you, you flip it. You just make sure it's upside down, and it means the depths of defeat. All right. Now I'm going to take a moment real quick, because this is what the core of your old Moorish Magi order represented. The whole Holy Orthodox Indian faith. That is the actual name of the faith of us who follow what you say, the Holy Corbet. All groups have a sacred tone. All right. Your key thing is you want to be the Peru. This is the sigil of Peru, to bring that positive in, to bring balance. All it is a circle with this symbol. Now, this symbol in the center, and I'm going to draw it bigger so people can see. That symbol that you see in the center, it looks like almost a little wine glass, whatever. This is the actual seal of the Creator. You call the Creator Allah. But as I explained to you before, the Creator's name is Iridia. Our ancestors asked the Creator, they said, well, what is your name? Because we call the Creator, Ahura Mazda. Remember I told you Zarathustra was one of us. He was 2 ranks below me in our Magi order. And what he had done, he was actually a keeper of our sacred object in our faith. And he wanted to go back and teach this science to his people. And the rest is history. Once he found somebody appropriate, then he left back to his people, and he started the Zoroastrian faith. They called it the Zoroastrian faith. So anyway, this symbol represents the Creator. So maybe sometimes you might want to use this sigil. I sometimes put it on my candles a lot. So again, you know how you have them cylinder candles. Like I said, I usually use an incense stick and to draw it. Or sometimes I'll have it. Sometimes you might hear some people say you use Athens. Athens is like one of the ritual blades you'll see. But I don't want to get. My thing is, I may bring some of these things up in case you might go that way, but I am on the path. I want to have less charm stuff, but I want to don't use too many things. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm power on the mic. I want to make things happen. One thing I wanted to say to you, and I said this to one of my students by way of Marco Polo, as we communicate, he loved the fact that I read a piece, and I told him I was going to read this to you all so you can understand how powerful you brothers and sisters are and were. This is another book of the Holy Corvette. You said, and in this book, I want to convey to you in this book here, this is a higher piece of the Holy Corvette. This is one I'm going to say how powerful you were. And my particular cherub student, his name is Raphael. He will be here. He's moving from New York to PA, so he'll be closer. This is the book called El Zamade. This is another higher piece of the Holy Corvette. And this goes into a lot of other science, but I want to show, explain to you. Remember, I said to you that the Creator had said that I made you to live 1,000 years, but you choose not to even live a tenth of it, meaning 100. All right. In this El Zamade, Surah 20 and Surah 21. I'm going to explain to you why when you hear the old Arabian stories and histories, you all familiar with the genie, and you hear the jinn. I'm going to explain to you, and you want to kind of put the pieces together, why those individuals wind up being like that. Surah 20 says this. To have a trance-wake state, you must have complete ishmatide. I explained to you all what ishmatide was. That was basically having total, complete control of your body. It's going to be one of the other literature lessons. I think I may have given it to one of the brothers and sisters. All right. I'm going to have it. All right. One of the lessons, and then I also gave the novel, which is self. Anyway, it says this: the blending the both together would be a jinn-day, meaning you become the all-powerful jinn. Through jinn-day, you will be able to be wide awake, yet you will be in a trance-wake state, and your power will be unlimited. Surah 21. Everyone can become a jinn if they apply the jinn-day rite every day, all during a awake state. To become a jinn is but a small step away from masterhood. So when you hear those fables of the genies, those individuals, what they were individuals who got their hands, or they were actually probably part of the Hittian faith, and they were going towards masterhood, meaning becoming immortal. But they were a step away from it, and they failed somehow. But they were very powerful. And somehow they then got caught up in the genie thing, and they could give people wishes and whatever, and that's part of their karma. It's funny, it took me back to an old X-Files, you guys see those episodes in X-Files? Please pull up, I don't remember the title of the show, but there's an episode where a woman played a genie, and Mulder and Scully came across it. It's the story where this guy worked at a storage place, and he unfurled an ancient Moorish rug, and a woman came out, and the sign of a Janaya or genie, they would always have a gem near their eye. And his employer was being nasty to him. And he was telling him, oh man, just shut up. Before you know it, the guy's mouth was sealed, kind of like Neo in the Matrix. And that's how it opened up. And then so when the episode started, the guy had to get his mouth cut open and he had lip seals, so now he's sitting and talking to Mulder. So during the story, they wind up finding this guy living in a trailer park. The first big odd thing was they see this big ass millionaire's yacht, and I just said he lived in a trailer park. But they were stupid. They was wasting their damn wishes. And they had this big behind yacht. So, I want y'all to see the episode. But here's the thing. And I said this before. Remember I said the NSA, the government, did a lot of stuff. And it's kind of secret stuff. But then they got to release it to the public. And through the Freedom of Information Act, after 30 years or so like that, but also they give you paperwork, they redact it. But the key thing is, I said that, but they never said how they can give it, and I told you how the Johnny Quest cartoons is actually divulging a lot of stuff that went on with the government. I was wondering why I never liked it. But look at the credits, NASA was one of the consultants on it. So I'm saying all that going back to the X-Files. Those were actual X-Files cases that they made a TV show. Thank you. So, I'm glad you covered that. Thank you so much, brother. So, the hood sigil, make sure you get this. This can be reversed. This gives heightened psychic awareness. The color purple, if you want to use the purple candle, would be good for that, all right? And if you want to use it in reverse, if you're going to do some negative stuff, it's used for evil matter. This is one I want to make sure you got. The platter loaf. It's kind of almost like a loaf of bread on a platter. That's what the sigil looks like. And it can be reversed in that. But it's basically upright. It's used for prosperity and abundance. It'd be good you can do that on your green candle if you're trying to pull money to you. All right. And if you want to reverse it, it's a Bane table that gives hunger and want. Obviously, you don't want it for yourself, so that means you might have to do that for somebody that wronged you or whatever. All right. Now, this one here, this cannot be reversed, but this is a blessing candle. This is the flame of life. So it's basically like a candle with a light. And this is for spiritual expansion. Blessing sigil, and it cannot be reversed. And the other one I have here is the far horizon. It's an upright. Make sure you get all the detail. This upright sigil gives powers and domination. And if you want to reverse it, it means the sun below, meaning loss of property. So remember I told y'all before now, I'm starting to hand y'all some powerful keys. These individuals that mess with you, all right, you know, like they say, all right, you may won this little battle, but you ain't going to win the war. I'm giving you kind of little hints here. These suckers mess with you, no problem. I'll say this. Some people, back during the time of Prophet Ali was alive, I think it was a police station or something, they did something wrong to him, and he said, no problem. Y'all got that in so many words. He told him, 30 years from now, you ain't going to have this building, they ain't going to be here. And I forgot all the locations. I was a young boy going to the temple. I know it's a flat plane. You don't even exist there no more. So I'm saying to you, somebody do you wrong, these sigils not only on your candles, you go on and put it in the earth or whatever you want. Somebody did you wrong. Last one here is the tempest. Make sure you get this sigil right. And this is upright, it's for strife and chaos. So this is another one for defense. And to reverse it, meaning containment of strife or peace. So, but this is basically, negative. So, I had to make sure I do that because I had brought that up last time. And I know the sister said there's a certain time frame, Dr. Nana? No, my time is good. It's 12:30 by the time my listening comes.
Oh.
It's 11:38.
Oh, that's not the right time.
No, it'll be 11:38 when it comes. The last train is 11:38.
No, I remember I'm weekday. So I look on the listening. Yeah, I'm weekday. If you can correct me on it, can you repeat me real quick? Somebody?
I can pull it up.
So again, it's a whole lot more sigils, but now I'm helping you to arm yourself so when you do it, you're dealing with certain entities. Remember I told you, I think I know I did pass this on to y'all. I told y'all one story where one individual did me wrong, and they lost their business. And that ritual is this. Someone do you only, again, know this. Whenever you do a negative act, please
Do something positive.
do it when you have to defend yourself. Don't just do it to be malicious.
0.
All right? And when you do it with a touch of love. You understand? We understand? I'm trying to get you to understand this.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying now? In the center of all light, there is a speck of darkness. And in the center of all darkness is a speck of light. All right? So, whenever you do something negative, make sure you're doing it to defend yourself. And you put love with it. When I send out something, I'm doing it where I say I'm giving it with love from me and the Creator. All right? So I'm telling you, if you have to do something, you have to defend yourself. Don't get caught up in that, oh, that's that witch stuff. It's no different than, put it like this. Oh, I said this before. You measure people by their religious creed. And if anybody's Christian, they try and tell you all holy, roly, and right, don't even listen to them and tell them go somewhere with that. Their religious faith is a joke. Because remember, they're the same people that have no problem cutting your throat. They have no problem killing their so-called God and putting them on the daggone whistling and taking anything and believing you need to take something pure and kill it. I don't know if the babies do that nowadays, but we used to talk to the hand. You know what I mean?
You still do that.
All right, good. That's all I'm in. I don't even want to hear that. Remember I told y'all, we were talking earlier about karmic debt. Part of your national karmic debt, you killed Jesus. You turned him over to the Romans. And you asked for Barabbas, who was a murderer, a rebel rouser. How come you can sit up there and fight for Meek Mills?
Now you're hitting that tone. Now you're hitting that tone.
You want him out of jail. You ready to go put the blood? Jesus. Ain't nothing but Jesus. Oh, come on, just put me blood. I'm like, what the hell? Satanic. I don't even want to hear it. Like I told you, please don't believe me? Go get a Satanist and find out the basic principles in their satanic order. They have to shed blood. And it ain't no regular blood neither. They got to get something that's pure. Shed its blood. It's a ritual. Satanic ritual. So now, the ritual I did when these individuals did me wrong, I'm going to give you, it's very simple. Remember, I always tell you when you cast a circle and you're doing positive work, what did I say?
Positive counterclockwise soul.
Say it again, some others here.
Positive is counterclockwise with soul.
No. Doing positive work, when you make a circle, you clockwise. When you want to do negative work and you're making your circle, you're going counterclockwise. You're dealing with an entity that's giving you some ish. You stand right outside that front door. No problem. I've done it. And I can count on one hand, and I got fingers, many fingers, so I don't do it. Like I tell you, I'm a gray Magi. I basically deal with the right-hand path. I know some stuff on the left-hand path. You need to, know that, but I don't follow that. What you do is, you walk a circle counterclockwise 3 times, and you go to the gut, hot spit. I mean, you like you're trying to make cappuccino. And walk away. And make sure when you do it, remember I told you with intent, you put all that negative energy, but again, the person's had to do you a wrong. A grave is wrong. I'll give y'all another one. I did this to an individual because they earned it. I mentioned to y'all before that sometimes you might have to go to the graveyard to go do some work. Graveyard dirt is very important. It's one individual wrong. So what you have to do, you get yourself a spoon or something to dig in a jar. Make sure you carry a bag. You have a bag with you. And when you go, you have to go at 12 at night. If this is the entrance, you do your prayer. I always carry my prayer piece with me. I'm always with my prayer piece. Some will say chaplain, some will say rosary, holy beads, whatever. You do your prayer. You turn around and you walk into the graveyard backwards. Do you hear me? I said, do y'all hear me?
Yes.
You hear me? You walk in backwards. Don't do it. First, you gotta make sure you know how you're doing this with no fear. This is why I'm giving you certain trainings so you don't let your mind wander. Because you can see things in the dark and be scared. You know what I mean? But don't be. You want more. You wearing your feathers, your turbans. You understand the spirits. And you know also how to dispel. Carry yourself a little salt in case you do happen to come. Because remember I said some of you will have open eyes you may see. I'll remember telling you my other experience. Let me finish this. So you walk in backwards. Then you find yourself a grave. And you get whatever utensil you are using. And you make sure you go upon the grave. And you ask for respect. And you tell that individual, I just need help. Cause chaos because someone had wronged me. And I'm not here to disturb your resting place. And then you proceed to fill your jar up with the graveyard dirt off the grave. Once you do it, seal it good. Everything in a bag. Pay attention. Everything in a bag. You don't want none of this stuff all on you, whatever. If you can, you want to have little gloves or whatever. So, once you got it, it's in your bag. And as you walk out, in your prayer, you walk out backwards. Last time I had to use that was some years ago. A person that belonged to me. And I use that graveyard dust, dirt. Make sure you take yourself enough that you need. Use a sandwich bag. You carry it. Door, and toss it on your step. And in fact, I had to use it twice. What happened was this. We had neighbors, and I know they did this. My cousin had some recyclables. And he was always taking the recyclable bottles to his job, and he would leave it in the house, and it would be the water bottles and stuff, and it would be a nuisance. So someone finally put a recyclable orange can on the corner. So I was like, all right, well, damn, cuz I got this, man. I took it empty. Now, we don't bother anybody. And the way he lives in his row house, we're in the middle of the road. We don't bother nobody. So it's at night. Could be right about this time when I did it. He had his girlfriend and everything, chilling and everything. So I dumped the stuff out. And it was like the regular stuff in the street. You know how it is on the porch. They just rally and laugh. They were the only ones that was out. It's going to make sense when we finish this. So I dumped them in there, and I went back to my place. Next thing you know, damn niggas threw a damn rock through our window. And I knew it was them that was on the corner. They was the only people that was out. We don't bother nobody. So I was pissed. But I told my cousin, let's do the formality, call the cops. We couldn't get no proof. But I said, I know who it was. We would always hear them playing. They were loud. Sometimes had fights and everything. So I was pissed. I said, you know what? They messing with the wrong person. Did my ritual that I basically told y'all. I had to go past them when I had to come home. By the time that was about almost 1, because I already did my ritual. I got my stuff right past their place. And dumped it with the greatest intent. It causes chaos. Less than a week, there was a fight. Hell, we got to catch it. It was right about this time or a little later. Niggas fighting, daggone neighbor, beating another person up and everything. Before you know it, they had to move. The house was empty. They couldn't even keep nobody in it. They just recently moved someone in. That was a couple of years ago. So what I gave you was a great defense. Some of you I have given some holy ashes. I didn't bring none today, but I'll be back the 5th, so I'll bring some. Like I said, I basically practice the right-hand pathway. I always keep blessings, but I'm giving you some tools. Sometimes you have to put somebody, you know what I mean? Because if you know you was in the right, these individuals are doing you wrong, you went to their entity, and you're like, oh, wow. Like me and that brother was talking about the brother. I just seen, I was so pissed, slamming that brother. He was like, yo, man, he's talking to him so calm. I'm not resisting. Why? And they had slammed this boy's face on the pavement. I'm like, And I'm going to say this to all you niggas out there. I'm trying to bite my tongue. Y'all will sit out there and harass a Tommy Sotomayor or me or whoever else, but you niggas won't go after them hard targets that really need to deserve. Let me tell you something. You want to get them straight? Yeah, of course you don't want the blue wall against you. But guess what? You can't protect that goddamn sorry-ass wife or that sorry-ass little punk and that son or your little whorish little daughter. Why don't you put their stuff out? Why don't you go get them back? And guess what they'll do? They'll ready to sit at the table and start giving you respect, because that was unnecessary. Matter of fact, it was satanic. And my other term that I call civil authority terrorists. Because again, there was no reason for him to slam that. And I seen this, it was a baby that does the Empress, and he thought she was kind of off. And she said, well, look how this European. She pulled this European up. This lady was a commissioner. And she's all in these daggone cops' face in the state that I live in Jersey. And telling them what's this and that, and this and that, and what have you. And it's showing what they call their white privilege, you know, these Europeans. But you would, even if they did to her what they did to him, would still been wrong. So what Sessions and all of them did, don't forget, Moors, and we have to remind these unconscious. Trump told them, remember, he had that meeting with them cops last year and told them, yes, if you can, rough them up. You know, because I'm a smart cat, you know. Just rough them up. And I said, this man actually said this. And these people, And then we already know they don't put a target on our back with this BIE stuff. Well, we're going to flip the script. Start calling that daggone bomber and these other ones, these WIE, or these CIEs, Caucasian Identity Extremists. But what I've given you is just a little taste of what you can do to help fight back. Because guess what they can't do? The prophet said it too. You know, you can't, you know, you can get all these weapons and stuff, but you can't fight God. When somebody invokes the divine spirits, they will fight for you. It's just a matter of you getting yourself together and to summon them, and they will work for you. Just as well as you as coming together as a unit. We didn't get to do any of the demos today. But if somebody had a problem and we had time and we could focus on the brother, say, hey, I got a problem, my case, and you know, I'm all right with this and that, but I really want to get this cop back, or somebody, and we said, fine, you give us a name, we all sit, we focus, we give him the energy, we focus on it. You don't think something ain't gonna happen. I told y'all the story of the Father Divine, who was a student of Noble Draw League, when they used their kangaroo court thing and tried to damn hand him up and threw him in jail. He said, oh, all right, you gonna die. You gonna die. And damn, they gonna just die. They was scared as hell. Damn, they almost kicked him out of jail. So, you see my schedule?
Yeah, we go.
So, you ready to close out? Is it? All right. I'll just talk a little bit since we want to close out. Beloved, did you want to officially close it, or you need to officially close it out? Or?
You can officially close it.
Well, I'd like to thank you all for the lessons. A lot of stuff will recap. We will finish and we will go more because, again, I had also intended to influence, remote influence. We will get into that. A lot of stuff is starting to be printed up, so I do appreciate your patience. And you will see as time go on, when we do recover the things that I am condensing and just giving you the meat of, you'll see it by then because you'll be able to have the literature and stuff that I have in your hands. And you'll see. So anyway, thank you all for your time and your patience just even hear me, just even let me come and sit in your temple here and meet with the cherub. And thank you all anyway for the little cherub babies that are here. I know we all worry about them kind of disturbing, but the babies are a reminder of the blessing the Creator gave us. I always say the children love these little cherubs because they not too long ago left the Creator. And they are a representation of the beauty of the Creator. I love to hear children laugh. This is just my opinion. I always say, if you ever want to hear the voice of God, when you hear the laughter, the beautiful cherubs, that's just a smidgen of hearing God. So this is why we need the cherubs like this. We already know what they're trying to do us now. We really got to protect our babies, give them the science, and try to make things better. Like Ms. Grace said, we messed up. What we need to do is work and help so our babies can have a better future. Because now I got grandchildren right now. And I feel bad that they're going to have to go through some stuff, but we can still change the time. Thank you. Thank you all, the cherubs out there in social media. The cherub Princess Kasumi Sama in Japan. The cherub Ezekiel in Washington. Other cherubs all over. Raphael in PA. Of course, cherub Dr. Nyla L. Love her so much. And thank you all for coming in. I trust you all come and get the rest of what we got. This does have some core best that you had in some other lessons. Peace and blessings. Heal them. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you all for coming. Father Hannibal will be back, as he said, on that Saturday, the 5th. Next Friday will be, normally would be Grand Sheik, but it will be Brother Abdullah Bey next week as Grand Sheik travels. And then the following Friday, which is the second Friday, will be Brother Kamitayu Bey will be returning. So we look forward to seeing you. And then Grand Sheik returns on the third Friday. Good night.